Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Friends Per Second podcast, where every other week, four pals get together to talk about video games. What's the thing we have on Apple? It's like 4 nerds, 4 microphones, zero idea what we're talking about.
That's the one.
It's a great
That's pretty good.
It's
That's a good
time.
line.
Actually, this is episode 10 as well, by the way.
Is
This
it?
is like our 10th anniversary.
The big 10,
here,
that's
now.
huge.
That's right.
We made
that's
it.
big,
We've been
so-
around for almost 6 months. That's crazy.
I know.
And-
Well, we were before that. We were around since January, just like
A further
chatting
6
about all
months.
this shit.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But,
And we got featured by
happy 10.
Apple. We got
Yeah,
recognized
on the
by,
podcast thing.
by the
We
Big
did it.
Apple.
We
Tim
did
Apple.
it. Tim Apple, thank you for featuring us, Tim
He
Apple.
called us.
So hello, new listeners, possibly. Nice to have you
Yeah.
here. I'm annoying. I'm the annoying one. So
If you're listening on an Apple device, Android's better. Just FYI.
Oh
Should
my
make the-
God.
make
We're
the
not
war.
starting
Just
these.
the war.
I just gave
Just
up
so
my
you know.
Android phone. I feel like
Yeah.
I betrayed them.
Jake just joined the dark side of Apple.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I get the
I feel
Texting
like
is easy.
to choose imprisonment and just to forsake any kind
I don't know about
of,
that.
digital freedom.
get the blue
Listen,
blue
you sound like a
balloons. It's
Linux
fine.
user. My God.
Yeah, so true. Oh, you Linux people are
Open
so
source,
annoying,
you
aren't they?
sons of
They're
bitches.
everywhere.
I want the
Now-
ability
now-
to do anything.
I've lost control
Now-
already.
The comment section of this video, nothing but Linux users at this
Yeah.
point.
No, I
Now
love
that I said
them.
something bad
There are
about
dozens
them,
No,
of
I'm
us.
grateful for them for the Steam
No,
Deck.
you don't. You say that you do because you don't want to make them mad.
They
That's
made
what you're
Steam
doing
Deck
right
easy.
now.
So I'm happy for them.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Let's quickly go around the room. In case you are listening via an audio device, whichever audio device it may be, and you don't know who we are, I'll go around the room. I'm Lucy. I work at GameSpot and Giant Bomb. Ralph, I'll kick it to you.
I am Skill Up. I work at Skill Up, and I have a YouTube channel called Skill Up. So it all lines up quite neatly.
Lovely. Jake, where do people know you from?
I'm Jake Baldino. I do videos on game ranks like the Before You Buy and the Friday News Show and behind the scenes stuff, but I also do my own YouTube channel. I've been YouTubing for 1,000,000 years now, almost as long as Gerard.
That was a great segue. Gerard.
Smooth.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gerard the Completionist. My YouTube channel is That One Video Gamer. I'm also on the Let's Play group Super Beard Brothers. And I was an employee at G4 where I hosted a show called X-Play. I co-created and executive produced a show called God of Work. I appeared a lot on Attack of the Show. And as of Sunday, G4 is once again no more. So I am now back to being a full-time content creator. And yeah, that's me.
You're stuck with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm afraid you're bound to us forever. Well, I guess we figured we'd start this week's episode by chatting with Gerard. We're all friends here, like just to check in, to talk about G4, because, fuck, dude. What do you even say? Like,
Yeah, you found out it was
sucks.
shutting down by, you saw a tweet. You saw a Wario
Yeah.
64 tweet.
Wario 64
Yeah.
tweet. I mean,
I've never trended worldwide before on Twitter, and this was the first time in my career where I trended. First off, thank you for spelling my name right, everyone. I appreciate it because JIRAD, GERARD. I get
GE.
get it all.
JARED. It all shows up. So I'm glad that my name was actually trending for once, and it was spelled correctly. So on Sunday, I opened Twitter. And good old Wario 64, who shares the world with all kinds of deals and buys
Great
and all that
account to
stuff.
follow.
Hashtag ad.
If you're trying to get a PS5 or an Xbox, like that's the place to go. I open my phone. First thing I see is a article from Wario 64. It was a screenshot of a leaked memo from the CEO of Comcast saying that G4 is no more due to poor viewership. And I made that tweet that was like, oh, hey, this is how I found out I lost my job. How neat.
I just can't believe that. That's so crazy.
That's so.
Yeah.
It's like, because think about how many things have to happen for a media outlet to get wind of it. Like, the decision has to be made by head honchos up on high, and then it has to be approved, and then the inner circle gets told, and then whatever. And it's like, at some point in that process, someone thought, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll fucking call the media and tell, and like, whatever. Like, the leak is not the leak is not the bad thing in itself. The fact is, the first thing that you should be doing is like telling your people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they should never find out like that. That is oh god, that is so awful. But yeah. So Gerard, how you doing, man? Like, how you feeling at this point?
Oh man, I still couldn't tell you. It's I have so many different emotions and feelings. Just because from the get-go, everyone throughout this whole, since January with the Frost incident to now, everyone's always said to me, oh, you've never needed G4. Like, you are your own G4, right? The Completionist is a strong brand, and it is a more in-depth and bigger and chonkier version of what X-Play used to be. You don't need it. And I didn't need G4, but I wanted G4 because G4 to me growing up set such a high standard of what video games media was in a world where there really wasn't. And it shaped so much of my tastes and my perspective, and the ability to be that beacon of hope and possibility for new people who were looking for that once again with G4 was what made it so appealing to me to come in and go, this gave me so much of my life and my presence, and I owe it so much. And it just seemed like I don't believe in astronomical science, but it seemed like the universe was telling me, hey, this is a thing that you should do. You should give back and set the bar once again, the way they did for you when you were a young man. Unfortunately, we never got to that point. I feel like we were just turning the corner, and it's been hard every day, just because the internet is the internet. And, everything that's happened from January until now has been just like a crushing block slowly pushing down on me. And I've just done my best to kind of hold it up as best I can. Like Sabin from Final Fantasy VI holding up the house, trying to get the kids out, like that's...
You would.
That's been my thing. It's like, we can do this, with the creation of God of Work, with revamping X-Play. And I think the saddest thing for me is the team, just knowing that they put their blood, sweat, and tears into this place. And every day we talked about, what if we did this? What if we did that? That'd be so cool. What can we come up with? What are the roadblocks that we can overcome and accomplish? And, I think that was the hardest part. And that's the part that hurts the most, is we were on a path to turning the ship around. We were on a path to true viewership and success. And God of Work got 200,000 plus views on YouTube across the channels, and was syndicating on all of our fast services and getting a lot of viewership in the Nielsen ratings. Like, it felt good to have a win, and to have a win that I was not solely responsible for by any means. The X-Play team was incredible. All the producers and executive producers, I could not have done it without them through and through. And they were so phenomenal to work with. They put their blood, sweat, and tears in this damn fucking thing. But we felt it, like this was it. We felt the wind in our hair, like this is where things are going to get better and kick ass. And it's just such a shame we didn't get that reprieve. So
it's just crazy that how long did it run for? A year, right?
Less than a year.
You would think that, the corporations involved with how much money it was involved, you think they would at least give it a little bit more time and see how things work out. They had already put so much money into it,
Well, I can't speak on a lot of stuff because decisions were made before I showed up. Decisions were made while I was there. And I'm sure decisions to this day are still being made about how the exit strategy is for what's left of G4 now, as it winds down. But I can't say at the very least that we didn't really, how I describe this. When the network launched in November, we were told to hit the ground running. We hit the ground running, and we then had to just keep running on a treadmill, and we didn't have time to stop and assess and look at what we were building. We were just told to create. And that's hard to do when you don't really have a North Star, a guiding light, a vision, a focus. And the teams, they were the ones responsible for coming up with that. And we didn't have enough runway. We didn't have enough time to develop chemistry. We didn't have enough time to really focus on what is X-Play, what is the core identity we want to bring to the gamers at large. And once everything happened, from all the micro controversies to the major controversies from now until then, we didn't have the bandwidth to figure what that really was. God of Work was like our time to go, okay, let's take a step back. Let's put X-Play on pause. What can we do? And to kind of go into that, Jake, we were told several times, I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but we were told several times, hey, there's going to be a year 2, a year 3, a year 4, a year 5. There were milestones and goals and plans and things put in place. But I think the heat just got too hot. I can only speculate. No one told me anything, but it just to me seems like, hey, the ship's not turning around as fast as we want. And the place we were in is very expensive. We have Lucy, you saw it. It was huge.
Massive.
A lot of overhead.
Gigantic studio that we walked into, and we had to figure out how to turn it around. And
I heard that figure from some article that was like it was 200 people employed on this. Is that true? Do you know anything about that? Is that true?
Roughly, yeah. That's true. But I will say though, you have to take in consideration how the departments are, because you have a broadcast syndication department, you have a legal department, you have a marketing department, you have a social manager, community department. You've got brand. Wow. You're
talking about their sort of like shared services that they would also be working on other projects. But you're saying in total there was 200 people working on X-Play, but in terms of like full-time employees only working on X-Play, it's probably significally less than that.
Yeah, like in terms of just the core production team, it was.
Yeah, and we shared a lot of employees and infrastructure from other Comcast properties. So while on paper, yes, there were 200 employees, I'm sure maybe more. A lot of them were like kind of co-assigned responsibilities from other parts of Comcast, just to like share resources and flow management of like, oh, hey, like let's work with Comcast's marketing department. Let's work with Comcast's IT department. And so we had our own teams for certain stuff. We borrowed stuff from other parts of different parts of the company. But yeah, it was a lot to take in, definitely as time went on. But at the very least, I can say everyone who worked there just gave so much. They gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. And it's hard just because, a lot of decisions were made quickly. A lot of things were dictated. People were doing things in real time and not sharing it with people. And that you just saw the web stretch everyone thin. And, we all as a team, as all the teams were, just kind of went, I wonder if we can do this. And every time something came our way, we conquered and did our best. And, sometimes your best isn't enough. And I think that the thing that was really hard to kind of digest in all of this, and this is kind of where my brain is that when I found out that, that the company was gone, I've tweeted that tweet and I don't regret it. There was a lot of people saying that I deserved it, that I was complicit, that I contributed to the kind of the big reasons why people were upset. And that's okay if people don't know me or don't want to give me a shot, or they saw a few clips or interviews here and there and saw who I was as a person. But like, I'm okay kind of being the villain in that way. I just want people to recognize that there were genuinely great people at that studio who worked their asses off, who cared day in and day out, who thought about every single word and set piece and prop and thing that was created. And those are the people that I just don't want them to receive the heat, as a content creator, as a as a influencer, right? Like that comes with the territory, unfortunately, for people like us in that way. But I just wouldn't want anyone on those teams to get attacked or to feel like they were, people are celebrating the loss of their job. I don't care who you are. It's black or white, red or blue, whatever your thing is. Life is about the gray, and if you're celebrating people losing their jobs in any situation, that's just not cool. And there was a lot of that, and I understand why and where it came from. Doesn't change the fact that it hurt. But I will be okay, and that's the nice thing is that me personally, I've got you guys. I've got Completionists and Beard Brothers. I've got Twitch. I'm going to be just fine. And I'm taking a 2-month sabbatical from full-time content creation, at least until January, just to reset, get in better shape, mentally clear myself. I still got videos coming out. I'm still working on videos on Mario Rabbids, God of War, if I get a code, and crossing those fingers. I still have hope. And really all the other games coming out this holiday season. But yeah, I'm just trying to reset because I've spoken a lot. I'm sorry.
No.
I just don't know what I feel. I'm still struggling with how I feel in all this.
I think there's a lot that can be learned from the whole thing, obviously on your end and everybody that work there, but people on the outside looking, like, it almost answered some questions. Like people were like, what does a new G4 or what does G4 look like coming back? Will it work? What can it do? Like, I don't know. Maybe it just shapes a little bit more like what people might know what they want going forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think there's a world where there is an alternate universe where G4 still exists and is kicking ass and taking names and helping people at large and doing what it set out to do.
Where it was given the runway to do so.
Yeah.
Instead of just being the fucking clip from Wallace and Gromit where Gromit's laying the train track as he's going ahead.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm honestly like, we've all talked about it a lot over the past week. And honestly, like, I'm just, first of all, very proud of you for all the work you did there. And like, you produced some amazing shit. But I'm also exceptionally proud of you for like, just bigging up all the people who work there, but ultimately taking care of yourself as well. Because that can be, I can't even imagine how you've been this last week. Because it, just on the outside looking in, it's been shit all around.
I really appreciate that, Lucy. Like I said, I've seen a lot of bad things said about me in the last week or so, and it's you think you're good and then you're not, and then you're good and then you're not. You think you're over it and then you're not. You bargain with it and you don't, and it's all I can hope is that going forward, I hope just people know that I gave a shit and I threw myself at this, and Danny Pena also, like, that guy is incredible. I want to have
machine.
Guy, between he and I, we worked our asses off to get exclusives in the studio, and people don't even realize that we debuted things for the world to see because games media didn't talk about us. Like, we got to debut Mina the Hollower to the world, and it raised all of the money for its Kickstarter in the first several hours of being around, and we were there real time. I got to play the world debut demo that no one else, that people saw afterwards. But all the press outlets didn't talk about that. They cut our names out from it, removed our watermarks, removed our footage, and just took the gameplay and called it a day. We got to debut Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, which just came out this past week. And we had the devs there with us, and like, we got to showcase that. We got Hyperlight Breaker, the Game Grumps' new horror game, Homebound. Like, we got these really wonderful, cool exclusives, and we were on a path to doing really awesome, unique things. And none of that would have happened without Danny Pena, who, that man is a legend. I salute Danny every day. He is incredible. If you guys don't know him, Gamertag Radio, go subscribe to their podcast and
it's
listen.
a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Stuff, man.
Thank you.
No, of course. Like, we obviously wanted to talk about it and just like check in with you, and so yeah, you know we've got your back.
Of course.
Appreciate you guys a lot.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you guys listening too, because I know I've seen your comments. I read them. I know. I'm still here. I'm still trying. So thank you.
All right, shall we gracefully, I don't know, segue to talk about some fucking video games?
Let's
Yes.
do it.
Let's do
Amen.
that. That's probably a good idea. But first, can we
Yeah.
just make fun of Liz Truss? Can we just take a second to do that?
Oh,
And,
dude! Oh
a
my
thing?
god! Did you see
Is that
the
we-
Did you see the
The
lettuce?
lettuce.
Thing? The fucking
Love
lettuce.
it. It's amazing. Is anyone
my-
else following British politics right now?
Yes. Okay. That's what we're
Yes.
talking about. Yeah.
So good. It's my favorite blood sport at the moment. It's the best. So that's it.
We just did GameSpot after dark before this, and that's why I was running a bit late. And we realized that I had been off the show because I've been traveling and I've been sick the entire time she was prime minister.
44 days you're away from the show.
And I came back and she was out.
Just in case anyone missed the joke as well, what the Sun, was it the Sun or the Mirror? It was this,
I
it
think it
was
was
the
the
Sun.
Daily Star.
Oh, was it?
One
Okay,
of
Star,
the
right.
one of the
One of the
shitty ones,
trash
I don't know.
rags they have, yeah. They did this, they put a picture of Liz Truss, Prime Minister of Great Britain, next to a head of lettuce and said, will this lettuce outlast Liz Truss? And sure enough, she was sacked or she resigned just today. And so the lettuce
Yeah.
won.
I-
Liz Truss
I
gone,
thought-
lettuce remain.
Lucy, I thought you were joking when you first said that.
no.
You're like, oh, well, the lettuce,
The
a piece of
lettuce
lettuce
won.
lasted longer. And I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I saw it
Lucy
as an
made a
actual
joke.
thing. And I was like, oh, wow.
No.
Everyone's like, I think I saw one tweet that was like, yes, she let the party down, but more importantly, she let us all down.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Oh, God,
I
you
don't
can
want to
always rely on the British parliamentary system to bring up the mood in a conversation when things are feeling down, huh?
Just-
Thanks, Liz.
you fuck over pretty much your entire constituency. You tank the pound. Then you don't even vote at the one big thing that you're supposed
That's
to vote
right. She
at.
doesn't even know confidence vote. Anyway, we're getting a bit too.
Sorry. It's
getting a
just,
bit too detailed.
yeah, people keep messaging me from home being like, maybe you should just stay in America. I was like, yeah, I know, I'm trying.
It's much better over there when it comes to
Trying.
politics, obviously. For sure.
As I've said before, as an immigrant into the United States of America, it's great. Nothing's going wrong. It's great. Everything is great. Please let me stay here. Let me fucking stay
You
here.
can hear the FBI click off at that point. They're like, cool, we've heard what we need to hear. It's all good here
Yeah,
now.
I approved. A green card approved.
We got
Right.
it.
Video games, boys.
Video games.
Fucking right. It's been such a whirlwind of a couple weeks that, like, after, there have been some great games this year, don't get me wrong, but part of me was missing, like, I miss just, like, everyone's working really hard to embargo and codes coming in and we're doing all
Yeah.
this shit and it's really, like, all these cool games and I get to talk about it with my friends. And then this week happened, I was like, oh, okay, bit much. So I guess we had 2 showcases this week alone. So we had the Silent Hill one and we also had the Resident Evil one. And so I am not a Silent Hill person necessarily. But I understand, Jake, you are.
Yes.
So can
Kind of.
you take this one, you explain what got announced, what people are actually excited about, why people are mad about a reflection in a mirror. I didn't quite get that.
Justifiably so. Justifiably so.
So Konami had a big showcase where they're pretty much full on back on games, and they
Not
doubled down on
how
Silent
to
Hill.
fucking use a YouTube Premiere link, though, are they?
Oh, that was so
Jesus
funny.
Christ.
I was waiting for a live stream for this thing to happen, and then I refreshed it, and then it was just the whole video. I was like,
Days of
holy
Odd.
shit, it's just the video, like a regular old YouTube video.
Oh,
so they're still
didn't-
learning.
They just
They posted
yeah.
a VOD. They posted the whole thing.
Yeah,
Love it.
classic
That's
Konami.
great. You could just scrub through it then. I was like, yes, get rid of all this faff. Just look at the
Yeah.
gameplay, cut everything else out, done.
I think some gamers have shorter like memory spans, but there was a time where what was it? It was hashtag fuck Konami, like every day for something.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm
They were
still
like,
rolling
EA.
that hashtag
Oh,
on the
I've
rig. Don't
seen
worry.
that.
There was a time. That is like last week on my show. You know what
Good. Good for you.
Actually,
Good.
this week on my show.
I
so-
think-
Yeah, so Go ahead, Gerard.
I was going to say, I think for a while I have seen a ton of those red MAGA hats, but they say "Make Konami Great Again."
Oh my god!
And those have been at almost every convention I've been
Am
to
I
for the
allowed
last
to wear that? I don't know.
the last 4 years.
Oh my god.
No, but like, can you imagine, Jake, if you wore one of those at a convention, but it was a zoomed out, blurred shot, and everyone's like, "Oh
no.
fuck, Jake's
Oh
cancelled."
no, I got Kanye'd. So it's an interesting thing because, all right, there's a lot. And I think people weren't expecting that. There is first the Silent Hill 2 remake, which is by Bloober.
Question: why are they not remaking Silent Hill?
Because that one is better.
Cool.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
Silent
Silent Hill 1 is better?
Silent Hill 2 is the RE2 of.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like the one that everyone loves and remembers. It's where Pyramid Head debuts. Like,
Gotcha.
I just
Okay.
played it for the first time a year ago. So like, me not knowing much aside from the first game, like Silent Hill 2 is the one that everyone loves.
Yeah. I joke. I like the first one is very straightforward. It's very cool. And then the second one really goes deep on the
get
bleakness in a lot of interesting ways, like story wise. So that's what they're doing. Bloober is on it, and it's a seemingly direct collaboration with Konami. Konami seems to have like a team of like intellectual property people managing all this stuff. And they're working with Bloober, the Polish studio behind the Medium.
I've seen the scuttlebutt about
Layers of Fear.
Yeah, so
Blair Witch.
they're
Is
a
it
studio that definitely has some issues. I liked Observer. Is it Observer? Observer. I liked Observer. Layers of Fear I thought was pretty cool. I thought Blair Witch was like wasted potential, unfortunately.
Blair Witch felt like a really weird movie tie-in, except there was no movie or tie-in.
There was a dog though, right?
It was the first game where I was like, this dog's dumb. I've never thought that in my life. So
Dude.
Wow.
the first game where I was just like not happy with the dog.
You want to talk about
Hold your
getting
downvotes,
you want
people.
to talk about getting canceled, Jake? Saying something about
Bad things about dogs.
That's
What's
why people
wrong
don't
with
like
you?
Bluebirds, because they made an annoying dog. How do you make a cute dog that annoying? No, the real thing is
You know, actually, this is a weird sidebar. One of the most disliked videos when I was covering the division that I ever made was one video where I was walking around the city.
No.
Whatever.
I already know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, and around the streets of the city, there's like dogs walking around.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I
Ralph.
just shot this dog.
Fucking
Like
hell.
no reason in particular. He was a normal, happy dog, and I was just like, boop. And then I left that footage in there, not even because I was talking about something totally different in the video. And then everyone's like, can't believe you fucking did that. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. I'm unsubscribing. I'm so disappointed at you. And these people were serious, mind you. And I was like, whoa,
I mean,
okay,
I guess this is why we
lesson
announced that
learned.
we're leaving the podcast because you shot a fucking dog in the game.
To try and find that video and find the comment section.
There's a before you buy that I did. I think it was for like a sniper ghost warrior or something. Not Sniper Elite, but it's like an open world thing. And I ran out of footage at the end of the video, like the timeline, like when I'm doing the outro, like, hey, everybody, thanks for watching, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. We usually run generic footage from the game. And I didn't have anything except for me driving in a Jeep through the woods, just running over deer. Like endless deers just running in front of the car, and I'm just mowing them down. And I put that in the video and no one cared.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn. I was really hoping for some outrage.
You can't-
If
I
they
was
were
like,
dogs,
damn.
though,
If
it
you
would be
see
over.
a deer and it's aggressive, it's a scary thing. If you see a dog and it's being cute, you don't want to hurt it. You want to capture it, take it home, take care of it.
There you
Yes,
go.
well, a division dog, especially that's like a survival dog. That dog is like,
He's been through shit, and then
Yeah.
he's come out the other side, and then I come along with my, M44A, and boom, that's it. So
horrible. So what
Also,
were we
if
talking
you're
about?
watching-
Silent Hill?
What a show.
What are we talking about?
What a show so
Dogs.
far. What a show so far.
If you're watching, I just blew a kiss off screen. It's because I had to check in on my cat because I was like, this would never happen to you. I love you so much.
Your cat's looking at you like, are you talking about me, Lucy?
What the fuck
You
is
wouldn't
happening?
do that,
What is
would you?
happening? No, you wouldn't. Anyway, where were we? Silent Hill 2?
Where were we?
Silent Hill.
Bloober,
So Silent Hill 2 is
Bloober.
significant with Bloober. So it's Bloober working with original artist Masahiro Ito and the composer last name Yamaoka, who is kind of making new music and new soundscapes for it. which is interesting. And everybody has different opinions about Bloober, it seems. Some people have really strong opinions. The trailer I thought looked pretty cool. Graphically, you could say that James looks weird. James looks really weird. I actually like the style of how he used to look in those cutscenes, but
he looks so much better in the original. I just don't understand. He looks such a weird downgrade. And I just think that whole trailer was not right. The whole thing, Silent Hill is a memory that we all have if you played it back in the day. It's so vivid. Even though you may not be able to remember its specific components, you remember vividly like what it feels like and just this kind of vibe. And that trailer did not capture that. And then you compare that to Resident Evil, which we'll talk about in a second, obviously, Resident Evil 4. And you're like, you got it, you nailed it, that's it, you've done it, thank you very much, So I really was not feeling that Silent Hill.
The thing I'm concerned about, so like when he opened the door and you could see the first area from the game, I was like, wow, that looks incredible. But my big concern really is kind of that it's kind of like lightning in a bottle. There's this weird something, this je ne sais quoi of Japanese developers when they get their hands on things. Like there's just something you can't explain, and to have a Polish studio work on that is tricky. Like I don't think it's going to feel the same. Silent Hill, I strongly feel, is like one of those games that is best still. You could say it about a lot of games, but I think specifically with Silent Hill, it's still best experienced like on a fuzzy, busted TV at night in the dark. Okay.
Yes, for sure. CRTs make a difference with regards to consuming old games. Over the Mortal Kombat 30th, their anniversary, they were talking about one of the developers is like, oh man, I hate watching original game on, upscaled resolution on new monitors. It looks disgusting. It makes me cringe because they specifically designed the game around CRT monitors and the way colors bleed into each other and whatever. And I obviously hadn't looked at it in a CRT forever, so I couldn't say, but it makes sense if he says so. I trust him. But
I'm curious to see what comes of this. The original isn't going away or anything like that. I think the community has done a really good job of making the old games easier to play and better because the remaster they released wasn't really that hot. So that's always still going to be around. But that's where I'm at with that one.
Yeah, I'm not in that because obviously people have different problems with Bloober Team. I think some people think they're hacks in that they just kind of copy tropes and apply them. Some people have a lot of issues with the way they portray mental health because they've definitely done some weird shit at the back end of their games with regards to those topics. I understand all that. I'm not in the hate Bloober camp, but I'm in the they're okay camp, and I actually kind of enjoyed Medium despite its issues.
I enjoyed the Medium.
But
with the caveat.
Sure,
okay.
The ending was
Also, could have done without Troy Baker screaming at me just for
So I think I really went into this being like, let's give Bloober a chance. I'm still feeling that. I'm still 100, but I'm actually actively skeptical now where having seen that trailer because I'm just like, I don't believe that they really nailed the vibe of this, and that's a big red flag for me based on that.
So I hadn't seen the trailer. I just watched it as y'all were talking. Just watched it right now, and it feels like it's trying to be a little Resident Evil-y in terms of we don't know what the gameplay really looks like, right? Outside of that trailer, I got some over the shoulder
that's what it's gonna be. Yeah,
RE4 vibes.
It's because of the haircut. That's why.
I watched the comparison from Final Fantasy Gamer. Thank you for your service. I don't understand why the mirror scene looks like people are so angry about it because I have no connection to it. So I'm just like, this is
so there's something with that game that and it was through the marketing, through all the imagery for it, and through the pre-rendered cutscenes that they had this very distinct and unnerving feel to them from the lighting to just the way characters' faces looked. Everything about it was so eerie. Yes. And I don't know if it was intentional or if it was just how they rendered things at the time, with what they were doing. But the remake is very much just here's what it is. Here's what so that's definitely throwing people off.
Okay.
Would you guys, Jake, since you technically are our expert here, would you say that Silent Hill, and I kind of think this is kind of more B-movie vibes than something like Resident Evil, in terms of not hokiness, but not the greatest acting, kind of overacting at times. Subtlety.
Yeah, it's a little
like,
weird. It's a little like X-File-y, Twin Peaks-y, like weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's really more like artsy fartsy. At least that's how I always perceived it. It always felt like it had a little bit more going on beneath the surface. It had a little bit more going on. Like if you're comparing it to Resident Evil, like, you know, Resident Evil's like, what if the corporations made zombies? Where Silent Hill's like, isn't sex weird? You know, and murder and cancer is horrible. Like it's just a lot of, it does a lot more. So I think it's still good in general for this brand to come back. Because they have a lot of other games.
That's the biggest takeaway is Konami is trying to revitalize their games division, which is great. I mean, in my mind, even though
I think it's good that they're farming it all out now for the most part.
Would you rather have no remake at all or any Silent Hill property and we all pine over?
I would much rather they just sell all their IP and they cease to exist.
Yeah, but I mean, as the prosumer, Ralph, that makes sense, of course. But like, if you're a fan of Silent Hill as a franchise and you haven't received any Silent Hill anything for a long time, and the most recent thing was a pachinko machine, this, like, you know, Silent Hill fans at this point, I think will be happy.
Well, again, you will hear many Silent Hill fans be like, I'd rather nobody do it than Bloober do it. Many of them are
Silent Hill fans are very particular. And
Silent Hill fans have been through a lot. So I think they have the right to feel particular.
In that case, I want to strike my statement from the record then.
No. I'm out. I mean, the next Silent Hill game we were going to get was going to be from Kojima, you know, and Del Toro, right?
That still
hurts.
It's
kind of like, this is not that at all.
Yeah.
And I think as well, that's part of the reason people might feel a little bit miffed by this choice.
Raising my hand, question. Elijah Wood was doing all of this, like, he was quote tweeting stuff and using the eyes emoji, and people thought that he might be involved in any of these projects. Did that actually happen?
I think he's just a gamer. I think he's just
I fucking knew he was one of us. I always knew he was good.
No, but didn't he do something with like Watch Dogs 2 back in the day or something?
He did
an indie game, like an Annapurna game or something.
That's right, Annapurna game.
He did, it was Ubisoft. It was a VR horror experience called like Transformation or something?
Yes.
Transcendence?
No, it wasn't. I think it was like Transcendence or something, but like I think it was the Transcendence word, but it wasn't that. I don't know.
Like, hang on, Elijah Wood.
Was he transfaring?
Transcendental or
Transference.
Transference. Okay, I'm just making up bullshit then.
Psychological thriller. Oh no, it wasn't just VR. It was PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yeah.
So just there are other Silent Hill things which I think is good because, you know, for the people that don't want like a remake or another, you know, like people a lot of people are tired of remakes, and they at least gave us other stuff, and that to me was promising. There's Silent Hill Townfall, which is a kind of more story experiential thing by No Code and Annapurna.
That's fucking cool.
So that could be cool.
Yeah.
Right? That could be really cool. Then there's Silent Hill Ascension, which is like just some weird live experience thing, again with big players behind it. Behavior from Dead by brain fart. Dead Daylight. Thank you. Woo! Wow. They're involved. Bad Robot is involved in this, and this is kind of going to be a live experience thing.
Is it like Twitch plays Silent Hill? Is that?
That's kind of what they said that their inspiration was. So
that's interesting. It could be cool.
There's that, but the big thing that I think is cool is just like a straight up new Silent Hill game. It's called Silent Hill F. Or Silent Hill Forte, because that's the symbol. And that's by Neobards Entertainment, who is just kind of known as a Taipei support studio. From what I've seen, it's pretty much like they helped with like the Capcom Onimusha remaster, the Devil May Cry collection. They're doing some work on Resident Evil Reverse, that multiplayer thing. But this is like a whole new game. It looks like it's like 1950s Japan, and it's got a whole different horror style to it. It's all we got was a cinematic trailer, but the style is different. It was really creepy and weird, and it has like a old school GameCube Nintendo producer behind the wheel, the guy who did Luigi's Mansion and stuff.
That's right.
And it's got a character artist that I don't know who they are, and also the writer is Ryukishi 07, who is a famous horror scary girl book writer in Japan that people seem really excited about. I don't know who that is.
Book writer. writer.
Yes. Yes. I'm good with words.
They just
There
write
you
about
go.
scary girls.
Scary girls and like gross monsters.
With
Yeah.
with the greasy hair. Is that the one? Is that the scary girls with the greasy hair? Yeah. Is that the
What?
one?
Like Ring.
They're writing about. I imagine. Wait, are you saying that she's a scary girl doing that rights, or are you saying she is writing about scary girls?
Oh,
or
it's not a girl, it's a man.
It's a
but
guy,
he's
right?
writing
Okay,
about
I thought it
scary
was a
girls.
guy who writes about scary girls with like
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
Ring.
like
Yeah.
the Ring. I'm thinking
Yes.
about the Ring, of course.
The greasiest hair.
So yeah, I think that looks cool. We don't really know much about that, but I think that, so it's really interesting. I think that they gave us like, here's a remake, here's a this, here's a that, and it just makes me think about like what else they're cooking up.
Pachinko machines.
God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, that soccer game that they had.
It should all be met with
some
skepticism,
NFT
of
stuff
course.
that they've got in the background as well. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Mate, don't talk
Yeah.
to me about fucking NFTs. Warner Brothers announced Lord of the Rings NFTs today. I'm
That's right. For
fucking
the movie.
Yeah, Konami still, should be met with skepticism. But now I'm just thinking, like, if they have this guy who's like in charge of IP and he has a creative team divvying out these things and communicating with these other studios that are more suited to make these games, right? Do they have a division of that for Castlevania and for
surely
Metal Gear
the
Solid?
Netflix show
Metal Gear
has
Solid, yeah.
massively reignited interest in Castlevania.
Absolutely.
That show was
I would
fucking
hope so.
massive.
If it doesn't, we're in trouble.
that show was dope too. I only watched the
so
first two
good.
seasons, but
Oh, Jake, you got to finish it.
Finish it, my dude.
It's
very good.
so good. I was.
it doesn't fizzle out, like it doesn't lose steam.
It has
Oh,
one
okay.
of the best endings. Like I was watching it last year, and I was back in the UK, and my roommate came downstairs to make a cup of tea, and I was just crying on the couch, and he was like, "Are you okay?" Emotionally, no.
Crying over vampires once
Just crying
again.
over sexy, sexy vampires.
Nice.
We all do it.
Yeah, we all do.
Sexy vampires. Guys, Vampire Survivors is out today officially.
out, man.
1.0
1.0,
is out.
baby. 1.0.
We did it.
Oh, actually, reminds me.
Oh,
Did you get the
sent
shirt?
a
Did you
thing?
get a press kit?
I did, but it hasn't arrived
thing.
yet.
So here's the deal. It comes with the coolest shirt ever.
Does it
I
come
haven't
with
actually
garlic?
properly
I
looked
think-
at it.
I think I'm
Is there a
cursed.
shirt in here? Oh, yeah, there is.
Remember,
Okay.
this is an audio podcast.
Okay, sure. What does this shirt say?
Is it the garlic?
Yeah.
Garlic behavior.
Garlic behavior. I
Oh
love
my
it.
God.
Okay. And it's a gamer size as well. I love it. I can actually wear it. Fantastic. It came with other stuff. There's also a cape in here. This is
course.
A vampire
they sent
cape?
me.
A vampire
That
cake.
makes sense. And some cards, like the cards that represent the thing, some gloves, and of course, the garlic. You know, so
Useful.
Gerard,
Actually
I'm
practical.
gonna message them and be like, "Yo,
yeah, you
please."
better. You deserve it. You
I
better. With the
have
little bow tie.
been promoting this game for months. Just notice me for 5 seconds. I want a cape.
I'm gonna message.
He
them.
wants a,
I
please,
want
the
I
young
want the
lad wants a
garlic.
Halloween cape.
Look, if I gotta be one of the warriors for Halloween, I'll do it. I'll walk around with cloves of garlic wrapped around me like a circle. I'll like a hula hoop, like one of the, when you were a kid and you had like the
Yeah.
you were like, I'm the solar system for like Halloween. It's
Yeah.
that, but it's just garlic. I'll do
You
it.
on Halloween, people are going to be
Yes.
like, what's up with that guy?
You'll smell him before you see him,
Yep.
just from afar.
Yep.
I did buy my Halloween costume yesterday, by the way. I'm very excited.
What are you gonna be?
What is it?
I'm gonna be Wendy from The Shining. I got a bat. I got like
Nice.
the whole corduroy dress thing and the green shirt. And I'm gonna use some red eyeliner to make it look like I'm crying. Maybe I'll just cry. That's probably easier.
That would be easier. My chair is stuck, by the way. I'm just bouncing
That's
up and
wondering
down
what's
here.
happening over there.
My chair is so stuck. What is going on?
Hey, I did the After Dark
Okay.
podcast today, and we had to sit at like a tall table, but we only have 3 chairs, so I had to sit on a normal fucking office chair, and everyone else is like a foot taller than me, so I look like
You're
an
at the
actual
kids'
hobbit.
table.
Yeah, basically at the kids' table. All right. From one spooky franchise to another then, because it was Resident Evil. We're recording this on Thursday. It was the Resident Evil showcase today. A nice little half hour. We finally got to see some Resident Evil 4 remake, but they also start off the showcase with like the Project Winters expansion
Yeah.
Boring.
thing. I
Not
played a bit. I
boring.
played a bit of it last month, and I was like, "Cool, yeah."
Oh, the
okay,
DLC?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I went to Capcom actually,
Oh, sick.
and I'm not gonna say we were debated, but they were like,
Ah,
"Oh yeah, you
right.
get to do all this stuff, and these are the games that are here, and then this secret like unnamed title," and we were
Like
all
Dragon's
like,
Dogma 2.
oh.
Yeah.
it's gonna be remake, and
Psych.
then no, it was not. But I mean, it was good. It was like, you know, fun to see Resident Evil Village in, I guess, well, the kind of what we know of Resident Evil Village, you know, but experience it in third person. We didn't actually get to play Village in third person, but that is also coming out.
Yep.
Ethan doesn't have a face.
So cool.
He
They said that they anyone who didn't see it, they said that anytime you turn the camera to look at his face, he looks away.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That would be so great.
He's just doing these ones the whole time, just ignoring you. You know,
It's like
Can't-
you're just trying to get his attention.
no.
I can't wait for Boundary Break. She says to make a video where he reveals Ethan Winter's face, and we're like, oh, they just grayed it out. It's just.
I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
100% just gonna be.
It's like the episode of Black
shadow.
Mirror where when you block someone in real life with your remote and you can't see their face anymore.
Yeah, 100%.
We've seen it though, unfortunately. Like they didn't do anything cool, I don't think.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We've
It's
seen
just-
his
he's
face.
just
His
as
face is just as boring as the rest of him.
as mine. Yeah. I'm gonna play the DLC though, just because I have a lot of questions with the whole
yeah.
Rose
Yeah.
thing. Like I was like,
yeah.
what are they doing here?
And also, the Resident Evil DLCs are typically pretty good. Like
Yeah.
most games, the DLC is like, yeah, you didn't really need to do this. But like Capcom
Seven.
really makes some big. Seven's
Yeah,
DLC
Seven's DLC
was
was good.
fantastic. It is, I would actually argue, essential to the proper enjoyment of that package.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm actually I wasn't a huge Village fan. It didn't. I think it was not the vibe I was
loved it
loving.
until the factory. Then
Oh,
it
the factory. You didn't like the factory?
Yeah.
No, that's when it
yeah,
kinda
I didn't
fell
know.
off for me.
Yeah.
Sure, with those goons with the shoot them in the sink. But yeah, I hear that. Yeah, the whole thing just didn't quite click together for me the way that 7 did. I was so about 7 and this just felt a little bit like, I don't know. And then, but it also wasn't the classic, you know, Resident Evil 2 crew and whatever. And I don't know. So it just seemed a bit halfway between everything for me. But most people really loved Village. It's really, I remember on Steam, it's like 98% overwhelmingly
Wow.
positive. Everyone loves Village.
Yeah,
So,
I enjoyed Village a
it's
lot,
nice.
but that factory is when I was like, no, I don't know how. I
They
feel
made
about
Chris Redfield too hot. It kind of took me out of
He's
it.
very distractingly
Yeah.
hot, isn't he?
It's too much.
It really is. It's I was like, why isn't this man the lead? Imagine how cool this fucking game would be.
Yeah, but then we
if you were
couldn't
playing
see
as him. Nah, well then third person mode's coming in now. You know? And he wouldn't be hiding his face. He'd be
Oh,
staring
that means you
right
get to
at
play
you.
that-
You want to see his face? He will stare you down until you have to look away. 'Cause
Oh,
you're
we're gonna
intimidated
get
by his
third person
hotness.
Chris in that section.
In the mercenaries.
Oh.
No, in that section of the game
Oh, of course.
for
Yeah,
third
I
person.
wonder.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm playing it just for that.
yeah,
Tactical
true, true,
Chris.
true.
Sorry, Ethan. Like
Actually, that'd be pretty cool if the whole game they just replaced Ethan.
Ethan, that must be a
That's
mod.
part of the gold edition. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
we should message
Great.
Susie. She would know. She would know. if
Yeah.
there's a
Yep.
mod. But the main, obviously, the meat of why people were there. There was some reverse stuff. I don't know. I never.
God, that looks bad. I can't believe they're continuing with that. It looks so bad.
The main meat was the Resident Evil 4 remake gameplay for the first time. Looks great. Looks really great. I'm super stoked about it. Kurt and Tamor played it from GameSpot, and I remember when they went to the event because Tam was just texting me about like something else completely, and then he just messaged me, "Fuck, Resident Evil 4 is really fucking good." I was like, "Okay."
Wait, when was the hands-on? When did they play it?
I think,
Last
are you
week?
even allowed to say it?
I don't know. I just have zero concept of time anymore.
Okay,
so
right, sure.
I don't know when it was. Maybe last week or something. I don't.
Okay,
I
so
don't
it's
remember.
recent. It wasn't
But
like, it wasn't
Good.
that, yeah, okay.
No, they did, but they played it and like, they put a preview together and like, it just like the changes they seem to have made. It looks. I don't. Did you watch the footage that they released today?
yes.
It's just so much darker. So. Just way more atmospheric. Like I always when I think about Resident Evil 4 in my head, the kind of brown color palette, and it's like these dark blues and blacks and just super grim and grimy. And I was just like, oh, I'm fucking in. They were saying that
I miss the brown color palette. Is
I'm
that
sure
weird?
it's coming back. I'm sure it'll
Like
be
that
there at some
fall,
place.
like it had that dead fall crisp feeling, and
it
like
does
it was
when you
just the
get
perfect.
to the village. It's like just in that opening woods section.
It's just moody.
it was
extra
super
moody.
fucking moody and gross.
It was cool to see like they expanded where it makes sense. Just the little brief glimpse they got us, like the fact that like you don't just like walk in the first house and shoot a man in the face. You walk in the house house. It's scary. You go in the basement. You find the dead cop. You freak out. Then you shoot the guy in the face. And I think
they were saying that like they all just kind of like even the AI is so much better. They're not just slowly walking towards you and putting their hands up and whatever. It's like properly trying to fuck you up.
It's also more creepy than the zombies because in RE2 and RE3 remake, when a zombie grabs you, you're like, no, don't eat me. In this case, it's like, come here, you little kid. I'm gonna kill you. And you're like,
what are you gonna do?
Grandma's got a knife. Oh my god!
Grandma's got a knife.
I'm looking at this right now, and like they even made the chainsaw guy even scarier. Like
he looks way scary with the eyes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I was very disappointed about when they announced the collector's edition?
What's that?
No chainsaw controller. I'm like, come on now, please. That's a free win that you just missed right there. I'm so bummed.
It's interesting that the Leon looks different. Like he doesn't look like I know they were gonna kind of take the Resident Evil 2 Leon and like cool him up, but he doesn't really look like that. He still looks like
he still looks like the rat. It looks like because no. It looks like between how I think it's between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4. It's like 8 years, 6 years, something like that between the games.
Something like that. Yeah.
It looks like Resident Evil 2 just happened. And he just dyed his hair.
That's what it is. His hair color is different. Yeah. Okay.
His hair is that bright blonde. But like, and I guess we kind of have an idea about Krauser and what happened between RE2 and 4 in terms of Leon's career. But it kind of feels like not a lot of time has passed considering that RE2 came out right at the top of COVID or before COVID happened.
Before.
Oh my god.
Right in the very beginning of it. So and it's weird. We're just like, oh yeah, this is again, that game's amazing. So it feels like we're revisiting it so quickly, even though we had RE3 and Village in between then. So
can we acknowledge probably the best thing, and I hope it's a full mechanic in the game? You can parry the chainsaw with a gun.
That is so sick.
That was the coolest thing. I was like,
anime. I love it.
That was so sick. I was like,
I did cheer though when the roundhouse kick went out. I cheered. I was like, yes.
And it was like they weren't ashamed. They weren't trying to like tone it down. Like it is just the same. It's just like we're doing that, and it made me so happy. I made the set when the roundhouse kick happened. I made the sound. This is a dumb reference, but in Step Brothers, when they're singing at the end and it cuts to Adam Scott and he's like crying, laughing, he's like, like that. That was me when the roundhouse kick happened. Like it was that exact feeling.
Oh man,
pure elation.
Do you guys think that, given how different this is, that is the next obvious step going to be RE5 remake?
I was gonna say, man. I think they would do 1 again before they do 5.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because at this point, I don't know how you guys feel, but the only Resident Evil game I have not played is Resident Evil 6. That is the one that I have not touched because everyone online at E3, everyone's like, it's nothing burger, it's nothing sandwich. Yeah. That's it.
Mid,
as the kids say.
Of this show.
Yeah. I would love to see a remake of 6. And 5 for that matter, because 5, I loved 5, but 5's
dope.
5's
like
cool.
Code Veronica's out here right now. Like, am I a joke to you?
Don't get me twisted. I think when we had Susie on, I said I'd rather have Code Veronica before even RE4 remake, just because I love that game, and that game to me is like the true story of Umbrella, and really the reason why we have zombies in Raccoon City.
Thank you for recognizing that. Nobody fucking says that. Okay.
I'm ready for it. I bring it on. I'm down.
Yeah, and I think that is what's next. I don't think they do 5 and 6. I think it'd be kind of silly for them to do it, to be honest with you. There's just not enough affection for them. You'd have to do some serious reworking of 5's setting and its themes for that to click.
But the thing is though, is that they have the engine and they have the systems, and Capcom loves to just recycle their engine uses before they have to start over. So to me, it makes sense that they're going to Resident Evil 9 or whatever the next is, even if there is another
They will be for sure. There'll be a 9.
There'll be a 9.
For sure.
Well,
There'll be a 10.
I think they said in the thing that this is the end of the winter story. So
Thank God.
Yeah.
9 will be like basically another reboot or another start or could continue a
It's
story.
so funny. Was 7 and 8 just kind of like this weird diverge where it's like, oh, it's like the Halloween 3 or like Halloween Kills of the franchise, or it's like, remember that weird one that just kind of like went over there? Like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Remember that guy who over-explained everything?
That's right.
was
Kept
his
losing all his
franchise.
digits
Yeah, lost his
and
hand.
magically grow back. What's up with that?
Well,
I'm excited. I'm curious to see if the trailer showed us a lot and it answered
did.
a lot of my questions, man, where I was like, are they going to go full weird? Are they going to have
they're gonna show
Mr.
us
Small
how
Guy? Are they going to have,
Yeah.
it seems like they're going for all of it.
the merchant's voice was different, though. Tampa.
Yeah. Bummed about that. Maybe maybe we just haven't heard the line that really grounds that for us.
Maybe.
What are you boys?
If we hear that, then we're okay. But
It'd be great if they just kept the original file, like the sound. They just play that.
Sounds all like
Why does it
low-
sound so
low-
crunchy? Don't worry about it. All right, that was Resident Evil. Let's move on. So we talked about games that are upcoming. Let's talk about some games we've been playing because there have been a lot.
There's a lot of them, friends. A lot of them.
Can I kick this off?
Yes,
actually?
please
'Cause
do.
I'm desperate to hear Lucy's take on Overwatch because we have talked Overwatch a lot. We
Without
talked
me.
Overwatch last episode for a lot when none of us play it. And the one person who does play it was Way. And so, obviously Overwatch 2 has been out for a little while now. You've no doubt been playing a lot of it because that's what you people do, play Overwatch.
That's what you perverts do.
That's right.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't played as much as I wanted to. I will say that.
Okay.
Very early
but just
on.
top line, what are your thoughts?
Sigh.
No, I mean that in a good way, in that it is Overwatch, a game that I love deeply. I love the characters. I love the game feel. No, I love Overwatch, and I have loved it since its launch in 2016. I think a lot of the main criticisms that people have are in regards to the Battle Pass, and I am not helpful here in that, like, I don't care about that stuff. Because I've put so much time into Overwatch, the unlocking is not giving me the dopamine rush anymore. Like, I just, okay, cool, I've got a new charm for Diva's thing. Do some of the new skins, etc., look amazing? Yes, they do. But now that I know they're going to be in a store, if I really, really want stuff, I know that option is there right now. In terms of new heroes, I do really like the new support hero, Kiriko, I believe her name. Kiriko? I don't want to get that wrong. But I really love her. I fully thought she was going to be completely broken when they launched, because when you introduce a teleporting hero, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be an absolute fucking nightmare. But she seems pretty okay. And I will preface this with, like, I'm not a fucking high level player at all. I am mid when it comes to Overwatch, but I really like her. I think she adds a lot. I think Moira is an absolute menace at the moment. It's a really interesting balance thing that they've done with her, is that, like, I've always felt that she's felt a weirdly overpowered, and for some reason in Overwatch 2 she's completely dominating, and I'm like, good for her, good for her. They fucking broke Bastion though, and I think they've had a really tough time of it launch wise, and like, shit that's going on with Blizzard aside, like, parking that conversation, but, like, DDoS attacks on the game, heroes being taken out of rotation, that is not the launch you want to see from a game like Overwatch 2, especially when there's so much controversy around the fact that it's going free to play and the fact that it is having this new battle pass model, and that people are unhappy with how frequently stuff is updating. All I say is that it could be worse, it could be Halo.
Damn.
People say it is Halo. Some people say it is Halo. So
this one has a plan that goes beyond season 1, so I would say it's already doing a little bit better than Halo.
That's true. That is true.
Halo doesn't have Toblerone or whatever the fuck his name is.
Torbjorn?
Toblerone?
Toblerone.
Toblerone?
A new chocolate-based hero, Toblerone. Love it.
Just a joke. I know his name. I'm
I
sorry.
know his name. But no, I mean, ultimately, I've been playing a bit on PC. I've been playing on PlayStation, and like, I've been saying this throughout as Overwatch has like getting hands on with it, and it's been getting closer to release. It's just been really nice to be excited about Overwatch again, to see that bump in people playing it.
Are you seeing that bump, by the way? Like, do you know anyone that wasn't playing Overwatch before but is now playing Overwatch with the release of 2?
Yes,
You do? Okay. All
I
right.
do.
Cool. Fair enough. Fair enough.
and it is getting a lot of like lapsed players back in as well. I will
Okay.
say though,
Yeah, me too.
we did have a very emotional. So I have two Overwatch groups, right?
Oh, I see.
Tam is in both of them, but one is on PC.
Tam, I imagine Tam's in everything that you do, Lucy, at this point.
I mean, pretty much we are the same person at this point. One's on PC and one's on PlayStation. And the PlayStation one is with basically the IGN UK crew and Krupa, who's now at RKG, and our friend Gary. And we've been playing together since 2017, 2018.
Wow.
And we have all had a lot going on recently. And then the day before they were turning off Overwatch 1, the 6 of us got together and we just had this massive Overwatch 1, like one last time session. And it was possibly like my gaming highlight of the year. It felt so fucking fun.
That's
It was
awesome.
just so nice. Like we all got together and it wasn't even like we were just chatting shit the whole time, which is what we
Sure.
always do. And it just felt so good that like a game, and we kind of just reflected on the fact that a game brought us together to do that. And so that was really, really nice. And I really hope that in Overwatch 2, I mean, we're gonna have to kick someone obviously because it's only 5, but I'm kidding. We will not. We'll rotate out.
Little does Lucy know she's the one that's going to get kicked.
No, because
She's so
I always
confident.
heal, so they can't
I
get
don't
rid of me.
No, that's true. God
I
damn it.
always heal. Actually, I play a lot of tank.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
This just dawned on me, and I don't know if this is a stupid thing to say in the public eye. We have never played games together.
That's true.
Oh
We
my god,
We got to change that.
Jake and
our
I
schedules are
have
the
played
worst, though.
Portal
Like,
2
we're-
together on a stream.
Say again.
I don't actually play games.
Yeah, that's so true. According to my comment section, I've never played a game.
I just
so-
talk.
I mean,
Yeah.
same.
Right.
Yeah, according to the internet, I pay people to play games for me and have no
Oh,
opinion
my
on
God.
it. Yeah.
Gerard's gaming sweatshop.
Come on.
Oh my god,
Come on.
Get those
Get that last
Chivos.
trophy. Got a deadline.
I mean, hey, Giant Bomb. We're all playing Overwatch 2 actually tomorrow. So if you're watching,
nice.
it's gonna be out by the time this podcast's out. But like, we're getting Jan involved. He's never really
Cool.
played, and so we should. I mean, we could all play literally anything. But if we wanted to play Overwatch 2, I'd be very happy to show you all the ropes.
You guys want to play some Destiny? You said literally anything.
Ralph,
Oh, sorry,
Ralph?
Izzy.
Ralph,
Next
for,
section.
Ralph, for you, I'll play it.
Mount.
I'll
Okay, there we
play
go.
it, but like
We can play it when Lightfall, when the new expansion comes out. Okay, I'll drag you all. We'll go through it all together. Unfortunately, though, it's 3-man parties, so someone's got to dip.
Oh,
And then, I'll dip,
no!
I'll dip.
I'll dip. Like, I think Destiny 2, like in terms of how the guns feel, I think they feel absolutely incredible. I just can't navigate all of that. So
Yeah.
Ralph, you would have to
It's-
shepherd me around.
For sure. And it's funny, like, because I went back and I played some Overwatch this week, and I was just like, just to see. I was just like, oh, okay, what's up?
Taste. It's all,
Just a
all you
taste.
need.
And I was like, and I played 3 rounds, and they were all on the same maps that I've already played dozens of
okay.
hours of the past, and
Yeah.
it was all the same heroes that I'd seen before, with 1 or 2 new ones thrown in.
Yep.
And it all played out in a very similar way than I recall. Obviously, I know there
They've
was one
got
less
new
tank. I
voice
get it.
lines. I
Oh,
feel like
wow,
I feel
the
like
new voice.
fucking,
Oh, how did I miss those?
I feel like Smithers when he's talking about the Malibu Stacy, like, but she's got a new hat.
That's right. Yeah, that's
Diva,
it.
she's got a new hat.
So, I mean, I was like, I literally at that 3rd round, I was like, I can't do any more of this. And I mean, I understand what everyone's saying. I understand the subtle differences and improvements and whatever, and I believe all that. I think it's there, I'm sure. The same way that someone might look at a Destiny expansion and think, dude, it's the same fucking game. Why are you playing this? I look at Overwatch and I'm like, yo, this is the same fucking game. Why are you playing this? You know? And it's just not for me as well. But also because I actually don't like the shooting mechanics at all. Like I was playing with Soldier and Reaper, and I'm like, these shooting mechanics are pretty basic. I don't know, just not a lot of feedback going on here. Doesn't feel great. I think I'm a little bit spoiled by Destiny in that regard.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think you'll be spoiled by Destiny, but also they made a couple changes to actually quite a lot of changes to Soldier a few months ago. Maybe it was last year at this point, to the point where I completely stopped playing him because I just didn't enjoy how he felt. Like he had way too much recoil, and I was like,
Oh, okay.
didn't like
Yeah,
that
fair
at
enough.
all.
Fair enough.
But anyway,
Yeah, so that was my Overwatch 2 experience. But my brothers are big Overwatch fans. They love it and they're playing a lot of it. And they're, they're not like, oh, yes, this is incredible. God bless Blizz. They did it. But they're just like, look, it's more Overwatch and that's all I wanted. Yep. And it just, there's a roadmap now, which I'm interested in. And that's it. So I think that this succeeds as a product for those already playing Overwatch. It seems to have pulled in at least some other people. But I think on balance, though, it has to be, personally, I would say it's a bit of a flop only because the narrative around this is very much like, well, it's the same. There's no real reason to check it out. Like, it's the same. And I think all of the improvements that it objectively brings aside, that narrative surrounding the release of your sequel, like the number 2 behind it, that's a huge L, I think, for Blizzard. So
I feel like they should have just called it Overwatch and just evolved into that model. But
yeah.
all right, what should we hit on next? Do we want to go through the major game releases for the past 2 weeks, or do we want to just jump straight into what we've been playing? Because it's most of the same.
It's most of the biggest stuff. We can,
Yes.
I think it's most.
All right. I mean, where do we want to start? Do you want to start with Rabbids?
Yeah.
Mario plus
Yeah.
Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
Yeah.
I've dabbled. I've played a little bit, but then I got Gotham Knights code in, so I did jump ship. But I know, Gerard, you've been playing a lot of it. You're almost done.
Oh yeah. I'm at the very, very end of the game.
This is Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope, by the way. Did we say the name of it?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
said
Rabbids.
Rabbids.
Yeah, I was just like, what,
Rabbids.
people are going to be like, what game is that? What?
Mario
Come on,
plus
it's a fun
Rabbids.
portmanteau.
Yeah.
Sparks of Hope. Yeah, I've put in about 44 hours currently. I'm probably going to end up capping my adventure at around 50, maybe a little over 50. I have 100% of the world as I've been playing. You can almost get everything in every single world, with the exception of 1 or 2 quests and side items, because you need to upgrade the little floaty character to go back and do some backtracking. But for the most part, you can go ahead and do it. A couple of fascinating things. First off, the Rabbids have voice acting now to a degree, and that's super weird. Yeah, like that's the thing. I'm like, well, interesting choice. Like, literally, Rabbid Peach is like #healing lifestyle. Like, whenever she heals, and you're like,
she
what?
Say at the end, and I was like, you don't need to say all that.
Yeah. The Mario characters still just go like, wahoo, and like, whoa, like it's very still that,
As he should.
No, he said he has
Chris
like
Pratt.
he genuinely, like, I think I said it in Discord to you guys, and then Alex Navarro tweeted it, but I was like, he has a better Mario voice than Chris Pratt. Because he's like, hey, let's go. He's got like a real
Oh, you mean
Mario.
Mario Rabbid.
Yes.
Rabbid and Mario.
I love him.
I want Mario to like do like XCOM dialogue. He's like, I'm pinned down. Like,
I'm a pin down.
reloading.
Oh, I have no cover. Where are we dropping? Wahoo! Yeah, so that's super weird that the Rabbids have also contextual dialogue. Like, there'll be a paragraph and then it'll be like, hey, like, Mario, jump over the leaf. And then it'll highlight the leaf and it'll be like, the leaf, Mario.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay. So he doesn't read the paragraph word by word, but just kind of picks it out, right? So that was like kind of weird. Second, doesn't really connect to the first game in terms of story, right? Like at the end of, spoiler for Mario Rabbids, you had 5 years, sorry. The end of the game is like you basically save the day, everything goes back to normal, and then like the Mushroom Kingdom and the Rabbids just kind of settle on the fact that they're just going to be fused forever. That's just like society accepts the Rabbids, and the Rabbids are a part of the Mushroom Kingdom now. That's how the game starts. It's just like the Rabbids are here with Mario and friends, and
one of them has lost his trousers, and you have to go find him.
Your first
right.
your first quest is to find Mario Rabbids overalls because he's naked in the bush. But then immediately action kicks up and you are into tutorialization of learning how to play the game. It's very, very fun.
What are the circumstances that kick off Mario like taking up the gun again? Like what makes him open up the suitcase and take the guns out and go, all right.
What's the John Wick setup right here?
It's not. It's just like, oh no, we have to go. And like, that's what happens, right? Like that is the thing. There's not really like a, I mean, you know, yeah, the story.
It's like an evil enemy attacks us because I played the preview and I played the beginning. It's just the evil enemy attacks. Oh no, evil enemies here. Let's go fight it. That's it.
Yeah, and within the opening tutorial section, you learn, oh, there's Cursa. She's taking over the galaxy, and it's not just the Mushroom Kingdom, but it's all these different planets, and it's very much about Rosalina and the Mario Galaxy Lumas, and you travel from planet to planet to rescue the Lumas, or the Rabbid Lumas, sorry, and they're called Sparks. So that's why it's called Sparks of Hope, because you're hoping to kind of capture, collect, and protect all of the sparks that were created.
Mechanically, how different is it compared to the first game? Is it a big thing, or
it's not too different, but the improvements they made are very welcomed. So, for instance, each character can equip 2 sparks. So the sparks have special effects properties. One spark has the ability to, it's called the disco spark, and it like makes everyone come to you. So you can like bring them in for cool AoE moves. Or one's like the Screech one, where it pushes them away from you if you're being surrounded by too many enemies. There's like a meteor spark where you can summon and just meteors hail down. And there's sparks based on single hits. There's sparks based on sliding attacks. There's defensive sparks that you use for shields and reflection stuff. You get a revive spark, which is the only way to revive characters in this game. You cannot revive when one of your players is down.
Wow.
And so
Mario is dead. Sorry.
very much so in the game. So that's like kind of the bigger thing. The second really big thing is that you no longer have to plan where your character moves in the safety zone anymore. Before it was like you saw like an ethereal arrow that tells you where to go XCOM style. In this one, it's full analog control. You are running around deciding where you want to go, and it's not so rigid and like slide, then shoot, then super move, then this. Instead, you can kind of control the character, run around, do a slide, cool, and then you can jump. I'm gonna jump on this character and go over here, and so on and so forth. It's overall a better improvement of the first game. It adds new elements, new moments and features, and it's overall, you kind of forget about the first game's combat because it feels so second nature as you kind of get blasting through it. You start out with all the characters from the first game, almost all the characters right from the beginning. So you can play as Mario, Luigi, Peach, Rabbid Mario, Rabbid Luigi. And then very shortly after, you get an original character named Edge, who is very edgy. That's the point.
His name is Edge?
Her name is Edge. Her name is Edge.
From U2.
Yeah.
She throws a really big, gigantic anime blade that spins in circles.
Hell yeah.
She also slides a lot and does some pretty awesome damage. And then you have Rabbid Rosalina, who is basically a depressed teenager the whole time. She's just very much like, I don't want to do that. Which is, it's funny.
Mario needed that in his life.
Yeah. And then you got Bowser, who's just, it's good to play as Bowser in an RPG. I love Mario RPG, and that's the first thing I thought of when I was like, oh, Bowser's just playable in this game. That's so exciting. I feel like I've talked ad nauseum about this.
No, it's good. I mean,
so definitely recommend.
I want to make time. It's just release season's so busy. This is one of the ones that I got a code for, but didn't have time to boot up because you just have to make choices at this time.
Yeah.
And I'm really bummed because I really love the first. I definitely plan to play this at some point.
Yeah.
But I just haven't had time yet. So it's cool to hear you describe it.
Yeah, you're going to have a good time. If you like the first game, this one's better. The music is great because it's not just Grant Kirkhope this time around. Obviously, Grant is amazing, and I think we might be having him join us soon to talk about that in the future. But they also got 2 new composers. One of them, I think, is the composer from Kingdom Hearts. And
Yoko Shimomura?
Yeah, and
What?
You can tell. You can tell because Grant has his own style. She has her own style. You pick a stage that is her stage, and you're like, oh, this is some Kingdom Hearts shit. This is some real Kingdom Hearts music right now.
I remember playing the preview and just being like, okay, this is cool and it's better than the first one, but holy shit, the soundtrack is next level. It honestly was, and I can't remember a preview I've ever walked away from where my number one takeaway was, holy shit, the soundtrack is so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was that level good.
I didn't expect them to top the first one because the first one was like already incredible.
No.
Yeah. It's pretty solid. It's very, very good.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I have not played the multiplayer yet. Is there multiplayer? I heard there was a co-op mode in this game. There was co-op in the original game, but it was its own separate missions mode where you had to like do them, and
I don't know. Actually,
they didn't really get you anything. But I haven't seen they advertise there's a multiplayer mode, but I haven't got a chance to test it out and see if there's anything completion wise. But for you completionists out there, the game is very completionist friendly. It tells you how many items you've collected. It really alludes to, hey, you found everything except a couple of things. And that was my biggest gripe with the first game. So, David, thank you. I appreciate you if you're listening to this. Thank you very much. I'm so excited. But it encourages completion. And you do get really cool things for completing each world. I think the other big mechanic, and maybe I'm just forgetting because it's been 5 fucking years. In the first game, you got different weapons, and those weapons had different stats, right?
Yes, you did. Yes, you unlocked. You did. Yep.
In this game, the weapons don't have stats. You have the same stats the whole time, but what you do get is weapon skins. So they're cosmetic skins that you swap out whenever you want. But I think in the first game, it was like, this one does more damage, or this one adds this. There's none of that like weapon skill or weapon scaling in this. It's all just kind of through and through that.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to get back to that one, but I started it and then I dropped it because I got my Gotham Knights code, which feels like a good enough segue.
Are we doing this?
We're going to do it.
Hang on.
We're going to talk about Gotham Knights. God, have a swig first.
I tweeted that out at Embargo, but like I really wanted to like this game. I really hoped it was gonna be something that would prove that you didn't necessarily need Batman. Batman is dead. To carry another DC game in this universe. I know Suicide Squad is happening. I know Wonder Woman is happening, but like with the Bat family, they're strong enough characters. And ultimately, I think the heart of the game is in the right place. I really enjoy the interaction between all the Bat family. Everything else, though, oh my God. We were chatting about it in Discord, and Jake and I were pretty down on it, and Ralph was like, oh, I've just started, I'm really enjoying this, and this.
Yes.
And it was basically just like
That's right. And you guys were like, no, watch out, here it comes.
Yeah, you're gonna hit it. And then I remember going to bed and then waking up the next morning and Ralph had just dropped in, oh, fuck, yeah, there it is. And it's, where to even start with it, honestly.
I wondered, so my theory with this is that, so there's so many things wrong with this. It's hard to know where to start, but basically it feels like a live service game.
I think it absolutely was.
But it's not.
And I think they saw Avengers and just went, no.
That is my theory, because it has this combat system that's about levels, and enemies have so much HP.
Crafting.
And, they have like the health bar above their heads. And that's very much how those sorts of games work when you're grinding an open world. Yeah. And this crafting system with all this terrible gear, with these shitty stats, and the mods that they throw so many of these fucking mods at you. And they're exactly the same icon, just a different color and a different number.
All poorly explained. You can fuse them together. It's all poorly explained. The mods you can fuse together, and the game, like, it took me so long to figure that out. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But there's so much UI stuff, so much crafting and gear and needless stuff that I don't really think benefits the game. If anything, it gets in the way. I wish they worked on something cooler.
Yeah. And so I think that if you were intending to make a game like what they said they were making, this kind of narrative-led, as in intimate co-op game where you could play with one or two other people or whatever. I don't know what the original plan was. But, a real sort of Bat Family comic book story game, you would not design it like this. Like, there's so much of this. You'd be like, no, get rid of that. Don't need that. Redo that. Like, you just would not make this game unless it was to sell stuff in a store. Like, that is it. Nothing will convince me otherwise on that. I'm almost certain it was that pivot away when Marvel Avengers flopped and the whole live service model really kind of flopped in certain aspects. Like, obviously live service does really well in some areas, but people really hit fatigue around that Marvel's Avengers point. And it's possible that they just said, we can't repeat that. Let's redesign our game. But they were too far along, and you've got all these weird relics in there that just seems so out of place.
Yeah, it's funny. It actually reminds me of Marvel's Avengers also with how it's like the presentation's pretty cool. There's some cool cut scenes. The animations, the skins
Easter
are like
eggs.
pretty cool. Yeah, the Easter eggs, like it's almost all there, but then suddenly it's not because it's relying on, and I think there were some decent elements of Avengers combat here and there. I think the fact that this game relies on open world stuff, traversal, and combat, and none of them are really that good.
Yeah.
Not that satisfying. That's what really killed it for me.
The thing
Can you
that
believe
got
this
me-
knight's... Sorry, Lucy.
Oh, no, you go. No, you go. Because you're going
I
to
was
talk
going to
about
say, this
something that I was
knighthood
going to...
system where you have to fucking unlock the ability to glide, after doing 10 open world missions per character.
But they're
character.
they're
I
not
was
just
like,
open world missions. They are premeditated crimes. So you have to do other fucking missions to unlock
Correct.
these
Yeah,
ones.
you got to do precog. Like it's
That
ridiculous.
Live service game. That's a live service game.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like you can just feel it. And it's just, I don't understand. It's such a shame that they didn't spend more time to redesign the core of it, because there's so many things that you look at and you're like, this is obviously not fun. Like, did you guys unlock fast travel in this game?
Yeah.
Dude,
Okay.
fucking
Oh
fast
god,
travel
the drones scanning the drones.
Oh my
yeah.
god. So if anyone, so you haven't played it?
Fucking getting the premeditated crimes was a slog. As soon as they introduced that fast travel system, which if you haven't played it, Lucius Fox, you meet up with him and he says, hey, you could drop in, but there are drones, and the only way for me to get you to fast travel is that I have to get you to scan every drone, and sometimes there were 2 or 3 in an area, and it's like a little environmental puzzle. Sometimes you can't scan them unless they are docked, because then they're not shielded.
It's like, Lucius, just get, what am I paying you for?
Just the most unfun way of unlocking a fast travel system.
It's unbelievable. Like
Tedious.
it's that kind of thing where, look, obviously game dev is hard. Okay, for sure. We hear that. And I know, and I agree with that. I 100% do. I never discount that point. But you've got something like that is so obviously terrible. It so obviously does not belong. It's like, how did it make it through every single stage gate in the entire game development process? And this is the way that you decided you would unlock fast travel in a video game. It's like, how do you arrive at this? Because it's just... It was that level of... You are literally you're a bat person staring at drones, politely and patiently waiting for them to land so you can continue to look at them when their shields are down. Like, how does that make it into your video game? You know what I mean? I don't understand.
The thing that gets me is like, I went to Warner Brothers a couple of weeks ago, right? That was, a few weeks ago I went up there, and it was like, it sucks to see just how passionate everyone there was. Like, and you kind of uncouple yourself from that a little bit when, like, I'm not reviewing this game. I'm just playing it and I'm talking about it. But, like, being there and seeing firsthand just how passionate everyone was, like, piles of comics everywhere. They were just so excited to talk about it. And then, I remember playing the demo, and it was a very, very strange game to demo because you have 4 nights, and... So they'd put us at the beginning, and then you'd skip ahead a couple hours, and then you'd be playing as a different character, and so you didn't get the chance to level up with that character. So I had all these fucking abilities that I had no idea what to do with. And every part of my muscle memory was screaming Arkham combat. And that's what I kept trying to do. But that is not what this game is. It is just Avengers combat. It is pummel, wait until your gauge grows enough, and then you unleash an ability, but the lock-on doesn't work. And so you'll have one particular ability that will stop a charging person, and then you'll fire it off into a wall. Maybe. And so, like, I was trying. I was trying so hard. It's just, it didn't feel like the flow is not there. And that,
Sure.
like, there's no weight behind any of the punches. There is no, when you build up a combat in a combo in Arkham, you get to a point where you are just dancing around that encounter. You are flipping from one person to another. And even when I was playing as, Batgirl, who's the closest to Batman, or even Nightwing, and so you've obviously played as Nightwing in Arkham Knight, right? And you are like, you're flipping around, you're going, you're like water, you're going and hitting and then going to another person. I was like, I just never got that. Regardless of how much I played or how much I unlocked, it was just messy. And it never felt like anything connected. It never felt good. Every time an enemy got a thing in, it felt cheap. And I was like,
is the story worth checking out?
Yeah.
So I
like it, but I will say, caveat, I haven't fucking finished it.
So the problem is that it's sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, as someone that's actually not intimate with this world and meeting these characters for the first time, I actually liked it. I thought it was cool. But I definitely read, but I've read a lot of people who are actually connected to this world, know the comics, know the Court of Owls, and they're like, yo, this sucks. This is not how this should have been written, whatever else. And I can understand that. But for me personally, who's just pretty new to this, I actually really liked the story. I mainly because I like the characters. I think they were super cool.
I think they did a great job with them.
I like their personal stories, but I know, Jake, you have a different view on that.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's part of the game's structure again, and how that structure holds everything back, and it gets in the way of everything. And I think that it's like I felt playing it that I just got a lot of cutscenes with character moments, and they were good. They were pretty emotional, but like it didn't have a good through line. And I'm all for like nonlinear storytelling, but it just didn't really work. And I think the payoff at the end, there really wasn't any. I was really hoping for some cool big learning moment or like massive team family moments, and I didn't get any of that. And I feel like that was the whole point of the game. It's the Bat family. I was so excited. The whole Batman is dead thing from a story perspective is incredibly exciting. Like that is the most big dick move they could have made. And I feel like they squandered it, and I was bummed. There's a couple of things though. So like I have this like weird feeling that like the game is definitely still going to find its fans.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I don't know if it's maybe they get it on sale or it's people who just want like, a junk food game and they ignore as much of the bullshit as possible, because there are some really cool sequences. The Mr. Freeze sequence, I thought was really cool. The Clayface things were pretty wild. Like they were pretty fun and inspired. They're few and far between, but they're there.
That chase sequence on the streets with Clayface
visually was I was like holy shit.
Which game am I was at that moment I was like, what game am I playing now? Like, where has this been the whole game?
It felt like an Uncharted like incredible where you see an action sequence in Uncharted and you're like, how did they even make this? It felt like that.
Absolutely. And I was that was a real moment for me, because I was like, you get a vision of what this game could have been if they had designed it around stuff like this. And I think that's where Spider-Man thrives, because Spider-Man is designed around stuff like that, but it also has an optional open world, right? I don't think the open world is vastly different in terms of what you do between those two games, but the difference is that Spider-Man doesn't force you into it.
And the difference is that you like doing it. You like punching as Spider-Man.
You like the combat and
going around as Spider-Man.
You like feeling like Spider-man.
Yes, exactly. Instead of feeling the meat sacks that you beat on for 15 minutes because they have so much fucking health. So.
I don't like to rag on stuff. I don't.
It pains me, especially this, because like this is my stuff, guys.
These are my boys.
Like, oh man, like I get excited like when Dick Grayson does like a cartwheel. Like it's awesome. It's so cool, but like it just didn't do it for me, and I was bummed.
It's fascinating as you guys are talking about it, because it's like my computer knows. I keep getting like aggregated tweets pop up on one of my monitors, and it's literally conversations left and right from game journalists and content creators who are like, I loved the game, I hated the game, I loved the game, I hated the game. And it's just very funny, because I feel like that's going to be the discourse about this game for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like the discourse that I've seen to this point has been mostly like, it's okay. Some people are like, it's not very good. One review was like, oh, it's up there with Elden Ring, and it's like, I don't know about that, man.
I don't know about that one, mate.
I think once people get it, like more people, because we're talking kind of pre-release. I think once more people get it in their hands, there are people out there that like do not underestimate how much people love Red Hood or whoever, and they just want to be in a world as that character, even if the game isn't that hot. If you're playing as Batgirl and messing with photo mode, or just being a cool Jason Todd with your favorite skin, like some people are just going to go for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Especially if the Batgirl were cancelled as well, like the movie. So just having any kind of representation of that character is pretty good. And like I said, the heart is there.
Yeah,
it's clearly not the game they wanted to make.
Yeah.
And we will maybe know in an expose in a couple years' time what exactly happened there.
How it all went down. For sure.
All right. What else? What else are we going to talk about?
Plague
Tale. Jake, you've been playing that one. Ralph, you've been playing that one.
Yeah, Ralph, you liked it, right?
I did. I really did. I actually really did. And I think it's such an interesting game to talk about because I can't think of a game that has taken the same level of step up from its kind of pseudo indie AA origins to what is really a massive, big AAA blockbuster. You know, it went from being this kind of almost niche thing to being what is essentially a Naughty Dog game. And I really liked that Naughty Dog game that they made. I enjoyed it a great deal. But at the same time, I very much miss that other thing that the game used to be, like that kind of intimacy and the focus on history, the period piece angle. I really love that about the first one. So yeah, I'm on balance 100%. And you know, this is definitely going to be one of those Game of the Year contenders, no doubt. I really believe that. But it's just interesting for me personally because of how different it is versus the first one along so many different vectors. You know what I mean?
How is it?
Yeah,
so
for
I
me,
played the first one recently. How is it? How is it so different?
So the first one is set in 14th century France. It's the Black Plague. It's in a certain place, you know, like the 100 Years' War is going on in the background. It was very grounded. It was about the aristocracy. It was about the Inquisition, the clergy, citizenry, etc. You know, it was a very kind of real story in inverted commas. Obviously it wasn't because there were rats and magic Hugo and whatever.
Tight emotional story between the siblings.
Exactly. And yeah, it's been very grounded. And then obviously that third act gets really crazy because you have like the Ratnado and all this sort of shit and the Rat King battle and whatever. Yeah. This Plague Tale Requiem is essentially act 3 of that game, right? Okay. So it really leans into that kind of the rat storyline, and it's not set in a period, in a place and time.
It's a swashbuckling adventure.
It is. It's like a pirate adventure essentially, and it sends you off to a magical, mythical, non-existent island full of weirdo cultists doing some weird midsummer festival thing, and you know you're like literally looking at. It's like an Indiana Jones Uncharted vibe where it's like, oh, the map points to that secret temple carved in the mountainside. Let's go. And there's people doing demonic rituals there and all sorts of shit, right? So just so different from the first game for that reason. The first game was like, hey man, being in France during the plague fucking sucks, right? Yeah, I know, totally. And this one is like, whoa, we have a pirate ship, let's go. You know, it's a very different vibe.
It's like you almost take the stuff for granted, and because this one still had a lot of the like, well, we still have piles and piles of dead bodies everywhere, but like it's not a big deal because you've seen it a lot.
Yes,
you know, it's all the other stuff. It's interesting though. For me, I was good with like a little bit of a tonal change, a little bit more of an adventure. Because it still doubled down on the relationships and the character stuff. But I think where it lost its luster for me a little bit compared to the first one is that like you kill a lot more dudes in this one. And
like
the first
outright
one,
kill?
You're like, there's like combat arena sections and you're crossbowing men. And I was really into the like just occasionally here and there of the first game, at least for most of the game. Where here it felt a little bit more typical. It was more often I was like, oh yes, this is a video game. Like I was thinking that a lot more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, sure, absolutely.
I mean, similar with I don't know, kind of when you're playing Uncharted and you're like, oh yeah, this is a rollicking adventure, and then you kind of sit and go, oh, how many guys have I just killed? Do I feel good about this?
The whole ludonarrative dissonance thing that comes out of Uncharted.
Put $5 in the jar.
That's right. And well, we're allowed to do it when we're talking about Uncharted. Okay, that's the one exception. But it's different here though because it actually does leverage that within the story. It talks about the fact that Amicia is becoming really dark and vengeful and like just messed up. Like you actually see her mental breakdown happen throughout the game. And I think that was kind of my favorite part of it, because that harkened back to that first game, which is like, this is intimate, it's real, it's about pain and struggle and whatever. And I love that angle, you know? So it
the dialogue's really good for it. It really works. Like you're in these little, like, you know, you're stealthing around, and you know, some stealth games, you might want to thin out the crowd a little bit. You want to maybe headshot a couple guys quietly. If you're with somebody in this game, a lot of times they'll be like, hey, maybe you should relax. And there's nothing mechanically really about it except for like a skill tree thing. But they did like the way they did it actually made me pull back a little bit. I was like, oh, so true. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's like a subtle morality system in the game, because if you kill everyone, you get more points in the aggression tree that makes you more effective at doing that. But you don't really care that much about that. No. What you actually care about is what Jake said, where someone whispers in your ear, hey, we don't need to kill everyone. Stop it. Relax.
Literally.
Never.
Why'd you kill that guy?
Cool. Yeah, well, yeah. Did you need to do that? That's whatever. And you're like, whoa, I suck. Why am I murdering fools for no reason? I'm going to be more stealthy now. And I think that's such an interesting little game design tidbit about how you can guide your player just by like whispering in their ear, hey, don't do that thing, you know? Yeah. By judging your player. I've never felt so judged by an NPC, I think, as I did in those moments where I was murdering people and having someone being like, don't do that, man.
I still think it's going to be one that I think about for a long time, because I really liked how it ended, and the whole last like section of the game just was like very emotional. All the payoffs were great. It's the first game that made me like feel something in like a minute, where like I got a little well up in my eyes. Like they sold it really well.
I think the performances, at least in the first game, were incredible. So
yeah,
how are they?
They're better this time around. Much better. Honestly, the main character found a new level for sure.
I feel bad because I haven't played these games. So
Game Pass, mate. They're on Game Pass.
You've been grinding out that Mario Rabbids 44 hours.
I know.
You could finish Plague Tale twice in that time. Yeah. So
come over here and play the sad games, the sad people games. Do you want to be sad?
You want to be miserable? Scorn, Gotham Knights, Plague Tale Requiem, man. They'll fuck this shit right up. You know?
It's a gambit.
Yeah. But actually, Scorn is one we haven't talked about.
I was gonna say, so I mean, we have so many, so many more games to talk about. Do you want to chat about Scorn?
I mean, I personally would love to, because I know
played it, but I know you really liked it.
You haven't played it?
I played the demo. I played the demo, but not the full game.
So, what did you think of the demo when you played that?
Good, but I was shit at it.
I also had the same sentiment. I loved it. Had a real hard time figuring things out. And definitely got.
Did the demo have combat?
No, it didn't.
There you go.
There you go. You're not about this. You didn't. Sorry, go on, Gerard.
No, I mean, I think it. I mean, what do you consider combat, Jake? Is it like taking the gun and shooting the floating orbs out of the air? Is that combat?
That's the first part of it. But you get like a real gun.
Gotcha. Okay, in that case, no, there is no gun in the demo.
Yeah. You did not like this, Jake, correct?
Oh no, I'm like 50-50 on it.
Right.
I think I like more of it than I don't. The combat is not really good. It felt like it was kind of the game like, oh wait, we should have this. Like it didn't really commit to it, so it just kind of felt awkward and out of place. And the enemies that you were shooting were like so boring and nowhere near as cool as the rest of the visual design of this world. Yeah. The rest of it I thought was super cool from the standpoint of like the game telling you nothing, no hand-holding, no UI elements, not a single bit of tutorial, where it's not just because it's like I'm an elite gamer, but it's because they put you in this weird world and it's up to you to figure out the language. Oh, what do these things do? How do I get this door open? Like you're just kind of stumbling through it. Even then, when you do get more combat elements, like how do you heal yourself? How do you refill your ammo? What does this gun even do? Like all of it is just you figure it out. And I really like that. I also just really liked how old school a lot of it felt. And Ralph, I got this from you when we first talked about this, but just the way it feels like an old thing, like an old Myst or something like that, with a lot of these weird, pretty like you hit a brick wall with these puzzles, or you don't. Maybe you're a genius. I hit the puzzles really, really hard. and some of them were pretty difficult. I'm also not smart, but I like the sense of accomplishment finishing them, and couple all that with just, I've always wanted a game to look like this. I've always wanted a game to have this vibe, to take these art inspirations and just kind of, it kind of reignited my like art history love. And like, I got to just even like think about that for a second while playing the game. That made me happy.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree with all that. I think everything you said is 100% correct. And I think most people will agree with that as well, in the sense that I don't think anyone's really arguing about what this game is, if that makes sense. No one's being like, oh, actually, no, the combat is good. Everyone's like, yeah, the combat kind of sucks. But I feel like it's really about which parts hit for you and how hard they hit, you know? And for me, that exploration side, that the art design being so incredible, that hands-off approach to exploration, all of that just hits so strongly that I really didn't care about all the other stuff that was kind of jank, you know, the combat obviously. And there's complaints about level design as well, where people are like, hey man, these are really confusing levels. And I'm like, I know, right?
That's
They're
good.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, it's good.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think, again, it just is about how you respond to the different components. But I really like that they made a game that doesn't neatly fit into a bucket, right? Most of what we play, like Gotham, we're like, it's this part of this with that part of that, you know, add some Spider-Man, some Arkham, some Marvel's Avengers, add in some live service bullshit, boom, there it is. And with this, there is no clear sort of strap line for this one, or tagline, or whatever you want to call it. It requires you to really engage it, to think about what it is, to, you know, find new language to describe it sometimes almost, because most games don't do what this will. Can't think of any game like Scorn. I really can't. I can't think of another game that's analogous to this. It's its own thing, and I love that. It's just, I love encountering really weird experimental shit, you know?
That's where I ended it, where like in one of my videos where, you know, it's definitely for a very specific type of player, and it's definitely like fucked up and, you know, not perfect, but I'm going to think about it and like remember it
100%.
more than I'm going to think about Gotham Knights or some other game I played this year that I really didn't like. So I think it's a huge win for that. And the only thing really for me, my biggest complaint was, I like short games. I love a short game. I love a game that knows how to not outstay its welcome, tell it perfectly. This felt to me like it just started to get going and it ended.
How long did it take you to finish?
5 hours, I think.
It's, yeah, between 5 and 7, depending on how stuck you get on puzzles and stuff.
Yeah, depending on how smart you are. But talking to some people in my comment sections and stuff, shout out to them, who had followed the Kickstarter campaign and just some of the developer stuff, it did seem like there was intention to have 1 or 2 more sections to kind of flesh things out. And I thought that would have been just like the perfect happy medium if it was just a little longer. But yeah, that's really it. The bottom line is that I'm still going to be thinking about this one for a minute. Like, because you murder like an alien baby and you have like a weird monster that comes out of your vagina. Or do you have a vagina? I don't even know.
Some kind of orifice.
It is an orifice, I would say that. Yes.
Oh, there is a dick. Yeah. No, wait. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. There are many dicks, in fact.
Yeah.
There are many.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. So that's Scorn. It's messed up. It's on Game Pass. Go and try it for yourself. That's the
Go
best
scare
advice I can
yourself
give you.
silly on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yo, some breaking news, homies. Platinum Games just released an official statement about the Bayonetta stuff.
Okay.
It's a nothing burger, but it's a statement nonetheless.
Okay.
We at Platinum Games offer our sincerest appreciation to everyone who's contributed to creating the Bayonetta series over the years, as well as the community that has served as its foundation. We give our full support to Jennifer Hale as the new Bayonetta and align with everything in her statement. We asked that people refrain from any further comments that would disrespect Jennifer or any other contributors to the series. So they didn't really address some of the claims that the original actor was claiming, but at the very least, they did show support for Jennifer Hale, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, I think this is really a situation now where I think the burden of proof is on, what's her name? Taylor.
Taylor.
Where it's like, listen, you've made some claims. Cool. Willing to listen. Absolutely. And obviously willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, at least at the start of the process.
Yeah.
But people, reputable people, have come out and they've got receipts, and these are people that are not. They have no incentive to lie. None of them have any incentive to lie, and they're like, "Hey, we've seen the documents that prove that you got offered a lot more than that." And then when presented with that, she's basically like, "No, that's a lie. Now I just want to move on with my life." And it's kind of like, well, that's not quite how it works. If you're gonna like drop a bomb like this, and you're going to call the refuting evidence a lie, then you kind of need to prove yourself. So, look, I don't know, man. That whole situation is a real bummer because obviously I previewed Bayonetta this week. Last week I played about 5 hours of it or so, and I really liked it. And I have a preview up that's kind of like, hey, Bayonetta rocks. Get excited for Bayonetta, everyone. And then obviously this shit happens, and and it's kind of like, whoa, that video has aged badly. And now, obviously, it's like, well, maybe it hasn't aged that badly because it turns out that she hasn't really been, it seems as though she's not presented us the full truth. So it's a bummer. Who knows? She also talked about her own mental health struggles. Who knows if she's sort of going through some stuff. I suspect that it's probably a really difficult time for her now. But at the same time, like, yeah, you're gonna drop a bomb like that. You got to have some receipts, and it just seems a bit of an unfortunate circumstance.
I think no matter what, though, the glaring issue is still there in that voice actors are not getting paid enough in the games industry.
Definitely,
just full stop.
Definitely, and I think as well, people are like, oh, what if she did get paid $20,000? Is that enough? I'm like, well, some people are like, that's $1,000 an hour. It's like, yes, I agree, that's a lot of money, of course, but at the same time, Nintendo or Platinum, they're making billions of dollars. Platinum's not making billions, obviously, but Nintendo's certainly making billions of dollars in profit as the publisher of that product. And no one's doing an hour calculation on the amount that shareholders are earning on that, I think in general, like games workers and voice actors are generally not paid enough. And so at least this raised that conversation. I think that was healthy to have that, to be more informed about that stuff. I certainly learned a lot about how people in the voice acting industry are paid as a result of this. So that's cool. But obviously she may not have been the right messenger for that message given the circumstances. So Anyway, Bayonetta's fun. I played it. It's cool. I'm probably going to recommend it unless something really bad happens at the back end of it. It's
how does
just
it perform? Is it like how is it looking on a Switch?
Yeah, it looks shit. Like this is the first Switch game I've reviewed in like forever. And yeah, man, like the Switch is old now. It's old. And these guys are Sorry, I just wanted to chime in real quick. Have you ever, this is so stupid, I'm not trying to defend Nintendo, but this is a thing that exists. Sure. Do you often put your Switch in sleep mode, or do you do full power down mode? Oh, I almost always leave it in sleep mode.
So the next time you play the game, try doing a full power down of your Switch, then rebooting it and play the game and see if it runs better. Because there's a lot of games that have memory leaks in the Nintendo Switch that get cleared every time you power down your Switch officially. If you don't, it never clears it, and so games tend to run poorer. And are you playing on a day one Switch or like a more modern Switch?
The latest, the OLED.
The OLED. Yeah, if
OLED.
It should be running great for you. Like, I don't know why it's not.
It definitely doesn't. It's noticeable, the drops, because obviously this is trying to go for a really high frame rate for the action. And as a result, and first of all, it can't maintain that frame rate at all times. And secondly, to maintain that frame rate, they've sucked all of the life out of the environments. The environments are nothing. They are so bare and bland and like terrible, just the worst. The characters and the action, like the enemies you're fighting, the spectacles, particle effects, and all that shit looks fucking awesome. Like, that's fantastic. But overall, as a package, if you would ask me, does Bayonetta look good? I'm like, no, it really doesn't. It looks old at this point. And I think that, Nintendo desperately needs to update their hardware, because all I was thinking about while I was playing it was, man, Platinum have so much imagination. They've got so much in every frame that they deliver. There is crazy shit going on here. And they are so constrained by this device. Imagine what they could have created for us if they didn't have those constraints. So, yeah, but look, it didn't stop it from being fun. I was definitely digging it, and I'm looking forward to playing the rest. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
That's all I can say for now without Papa Nintendo suing me.
I was going to say, let's go from that's enough. That's as much as you can say on that one to as much as we can say about God of War Ragnarok.
Should I take my headphones off for this?
No, spoiler free. It's a pretty strict embargo, so there's gonna be no spoilers.
So is this just the first couple of hours?
5 hours.
5 hours.
I
Okay.
deliberately stopped playing so I didn't accidentally reveal anything. I don't need that heat.
I'll go first because I've only played the first like 30 minutes or so because I've been so busy with whatever. Okay. So I've literally just booted it up and did the opening section and then cried a little bit because I was like, oh my God, it's amazing how emotional it is right off the get-go.
Yes.
Yeah, man, I can't, like, it's so interesting how they film their shit and how I can't think of another game that is able to communicate so much emotion so easily other than, I don't know, like people feel that way about The Last of Us. And I do think, yeah, okay, sure. But I don't connect with those characters as much as I connect with Kratos and his son. So like, it's just, I don't know, man. I just felt that opening sequence was so incredible. Such an amazing combination of spectacle and intimacy and emotion and mythology. And that was literally like the first 40 minutes. I feel like Thrill House, like, and I've only entered my name. You know what I mean? It was that kind of level of wow. And it just gave me so much excitement for what's to come. But obviously I don't want to get overexcited. I don't want to get overhyped. But I secretly think that, I secretly think that they're going to pull it off. As in, I secretly think they're going to find a way to meet what they did before, which if you'd asked me that a few months ago, I didn't think that would be possible, but seeing that trailer that they did, seeing this opening, I'm just like, holy shit, this is, so far. Yeah. So I'm very excited and extremely hopeful. But as I said, don't want to overhype it. I don't want to build up expectations. I've only played 40 minutes. Okay. So don't listen to anything I have to say. I haven't seen shit. Lucy has played 5 hours though. So you will be able to tell us.
I mean, in terms of the way that the opening sets itself up for the rest of the game, I think it does it in a really smart way in that it does feel like that continuation. Like I really wish if I hadn't have been so busy recently, I really wish I could have played 2018's God of War and then just gone straight into this because I think that would be such a great, sort of transition between the two. I'm at the point now where I'm out. I'm in the world. I'm visiting the realms. I'm in the thick of it. Like, it's kind of wild how quickly it throws you back into combat and it just comes back. There are significant but subtle changes, I would say. Like, it just feels really good. Like, the story, I remember why I love these characters so much.
Yes,
the evolution of the relationship between Kratos and Atreus. There's a really great, like, Atreus is still very much boy. Although Kratos doesn't say that, actually.
No.
I haven't heard it. I don't think I've heard him say it in the 5 hours. But Atreus is kind of leading the charge a little bit more. Kratos is very much the reluctant, going along with it, doesn't necessarily want to go along with everything because Atreus is like, he wants to find answers. I'm not going to spoil the end of 2018 if you haven't played it, but like, it's kind of a big revelation. And Atreus wants to get to the heart of it and understand what it means for him and his father. And Kratos is like, fuck that. I just want to live quietly. We don't have to do anything. We're just going to prepare for Ragnarok, okay? And like not get involved. But Atreus is, wanting to push forward, and Kratos kind of concedes and lets him do that and follows him. And so there's a point where you go through Svartalfheim, and you are going through all these mines, and Kratos is saying things like, here's a mental exercise. I think that is the phrase he uses. And he's like, what if this? What would happen then? And Atreus, like, he's basically teeing up Atreus to give these answers. And it seems like he's kind of negging his son, but I think if you know the relationship between them, you know that that's his way of teaching him. And you still see these moments where, even in combat, there's a big takedown that I did as Kratos, and you you hold the neck of, and it's in a trailer, like you hold the neck of this beast open and you get Atreus to fire the killing shot, and then the two of you finish off this animal together, and it's like,
Oh my
it's
God.
really sick. And it's just like, it's such a sweet moment. And like, if you saw, going back to the first time he kills that deer at the very beginning of 2018, it's like just this really great moment of growth between the two. And also Atreus like chats back. There's a point where like he's trying to, he goes and helps you with a puzzle and he's like, oh, I think your knees can take it if you jump that. Like even you can jump that. And then you got Kratos being like, I don't like this. You don't talk to me like that. And so I'm really enjoying where it's going. I think it's got, the pacing's really good. Because it does the thing really smartly where, it funnels you in for a bit, it pushes you along the story, and then it'll just open you up into a little mini lake to explore. For example, if you're considering like the lake from the first game, it pushes you into sort of like a mini area. This is in the first realm that you visit, and you go off and you do little side quests and favors, and there's, things that you can clearly come back to later once you've unlocked more things. And so I'm making the mental notes of stuff to collect or whatever. And then, if I feel, I want to get back on track with the story, straight back there again. And it's more God of War, but that is great. And I'm really enjoying it. And I really, really hope they stick it because, I'm loving it so far.
Damn, I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
It's all...
It's what you want to hear.
Despite all of the grief and pain and suffering I've had this week, every morning I've woken up going, is today the day? Is today the day where the gods at Sony Santa Monica Studios have just blessed me with the code? And I've never felt more left out of anything.
I hope.
Especially
okay,
look what you're doing. Look what you're doing, Jim Ryan. I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Cory Barlog.
I'm excited to see how the through line of the DNA continues, because my favorite thing about 2018 was how it was this big departure for the games, but there was still so much of it that for me did actually feel like the old games. From it having like a banger opening to just the animations and just the way he would take down the bigger creatures to just like the subtle references to his past, but like not doing it too much. Even just to how he opens crates and how angry he is. Like there's just this through line of the vibe of the old games to the new ones.
Furious.
And I'm really curious to see how that keeps going.
Yeah. It's like there are other subtle changes that I really enjoy. Like you have the blades from the outset, which is just super satisfying. I could take or leave personally all the upgrade stuff. Sometimes it can feel like a little bit overwhelming, but I really, really enjoy like the tweaks to gameplay. So there's like you can sprint off a ledge and like deliver a killing blow from above now, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, that's
Atreus already feels way more useful. Like he was always useful, but even now like his call outs are better. His arrows seem to pack a little bit more of a punch. Like I don't know. I never had to worry about him in a kind of escort mission sense, but now I'm just like, oh yeah, it's me and my boy, and we're going out and we're doing this together. And it's really funny. Ralph, you will not have got to that bit yet because you're still very much in like the emotional opening, but it's really, really funny. And it's weird seeing so much humor in a game, especially one which is so emotional like this one. But I think like with the writing and the performances, it really works. And there are some lines, I was texting Tamor about it, and I was just like, oh, did you get to this bit? It's just, I think there'll be a lot of people really took boy from the first one, but I think there are a lot of jokes from this that people will be repeating.
interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. Well, that's it, man. And then the embargo is like 6 days before launch or whatever. So they're very
feeling confident.
They're like, they sent out early codes, nice early embargo. Love when companies do that. It's always good.
Yeah, I love when they send us codes. Love it. When they send codes early. For those of you,
everybody else has to wait until launch. So
I'm sure there's a lot of you listening to this and hearing this and wondering, wow, Gerard looks bored, or why is he not communicating? I didn't get codes for Gotham or God of War or really just Rabbids, and Ralph and Grant were good helps with that. So
well, We'll hook you up. Like I don't have the powers with Sony, unfortunately, but we can help you out with the other stuff. That's it. I don't know if Warner Brothers want to give me another code after my Gotham review, though. We'll see. We'll see.
Don't have another game out for a long time, so they're probably fine. Yep. They'll have forgotten by the time Suicide Squad rolls around.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe. So we've been playing a lot of games. 'Tis the season. But we do have a bunch of your questions that you've sent in. Ralph, what's the email address?
It's contact@friendspersecond.com, or you can just tweet at us and we'll do a sweep of
Ask
the Twitter.
us anything.
The Twitter is in the descriptions of the podcast or on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
Oh, like tweet at the FPS
just tweet
Twitter
a question
account.
it's at the FPS podcast.
When is that Twitter account going to become unhinged like other corporate brand accounts like Wendy's? Like when can it just tweet like I'm depressed?
Hey, you've given me the keys to the kingdom now, so
that's it.
Oh no,
we're done.
Go wild.
It is at the FPS podcast. Sorry, that's my cat. Bloody hell, can you hear that?
Yeah,
I can.
Peanut.
That's a loud cat.
Does your cat have a question?
Yeah, can I get some more food?
What time is dinner?
She's had it. Gerard, do you want to ask this first question?
Yeah, I got it. Akeef A asks, with the release of Stray, it got me thinking that there aren't many games where you play as a regular animal. What animal would you choose to play as in the future? I definitely like a Witcher game where I get to play as Roche.
Yeah, we all want to be ridden by Geralt.
We all want to be between those thighs.
That's right. We want to be that unicorn from the opening with him and Yennefer. That's the one. That's right. Something for everyone in that scene.
Yeah, really, truly.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go first.
I want to play as Rambi the Rhino from Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Call it like
That's a good
like
one.
Rambi's big day out, and it's just it's almost, if you want to get a little more mobile phony Nintendo, you make it an auto runner and make it just DKC themed and make it fun and let it be chaotic and blow up and explode.
I love it.
sure.
I love it. What about you
I want to
guys?
play as two different polar bears from Crash Bandicoot 2. The little one the cool one that
And
you
the big
ride,
one.
and the big one that you, because imagine chasing Crash. That'd be so much fun.
That would be fun. Ralph?
I just want a game where I play as Epona in the Ocarina of Time, but no Link's around. Like, so I'm just Epona running around Hyrule Field,
Just
doing
vibe.
shit.
To go along with that, I would not be mad at Untitled Horse Game.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just mess
that
this
could
up
work.
as a horse.
Horses can be dicks. They definitely can be.
They
So,
really can.
yep.
I would be a rat from Dishonored.
That's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Really, you should play a Plague's Tale
I was
then.
gonna say, well, no, I feel like in a Plague Tale, too cramped. There's too many rats.
You're focused on the individualism.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
no, because in Dishonored, there's only 5 to 10, so you get the nice family feeling of being amongst rats.
Yep.
But then you don't get crushed and made into a rat king or a ratnado.
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 Or rat flood.
Tornado.
Or Rat
So-
Tidal Wave.
Yeah. But also, you
Yep.
know, that world is just cool, and I would like
Yeah.
to explore it more.
Yep.
Jake, do you want to take the next question?
Yes, this is from Lukita, who says, do any of you have a JRPG you hold dear to your heart? Oh, man.
As a Kingdom Hearts enjoyer, Kingdom Hearts 2. At least when, it was one of my favorite games of all time, and I think it holds that position still in my heart, but I don't think I would replay it again now. But I was it was my entire personality for a while.
For sure.
And I'm not even a Disney person.
I'm going to say Final Fantasy VI is one of the greatest JRPGs of all time that I feel like nowadays people have slept on. Like the nostalgia of 6 is very much overridden by 7, 9, and 10, and now 14. But Final Fantasy VI is one of the greatest games of all time. And if you haven't played it, one, I highly recommend it. And two, when you're done playing it, go look up The Impresario by Jay Kaufman. It is amazing. Jay Kaufman did a cover, or rather an interpretation of the opera scene from Final Fantasy VI, and turned it into a Queen rock opera, and it is awesome. So if you like Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy games, give it a shot.
For me, I think it's nostalgia, but it's the Breath of Fire series in general. It's kind of like out of left field for me, but it was just like for me, it was one of those random blockbuster finds for like the PS1 ones. And I'm gonna pick the bad one, but for me, Final Fantasy X is really special.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's a bad one.
That's not the bad one. Are
What
you
the
kidding
hell?
me?
No, it's not the bad one, but it's the one that like people like. I don't know. It's like the mainstream. It's like the basic girl choice, but it is.
Basic bitch choice.
But it's so good.
The
It's so
PSLs
good.
of Final Fantasy.
The music is still to this day like just incredible. Sometimes I just listen to it like when I'm working. Like I just put on like
Yeah.
any of those chill vibe like ambient environment songs. And yeah.
I was always an 8 person. 8 was the first I played, and so that was like
That's very cool.
It was so cool, and I really would love to see them remake 8. To be honest with you, because I loved how adult it was in a weird way, and stylistically, thematically, the world it was set in. I loved 8 so much. I still to this day, that's my favorite Final Fantasy. But I'm gonna go Vagrant Story purely because I reckon it needs a bit of a look in on this one.
Okay,
Excellent choice.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah,
I think it had this incredible vibe that no other JRPG had really delivered like that, and this awesome battle system that no one has really followed up with since. And it was just so interesting, and it's so weird that it's been left dormant. Like, imagine if tomorrow, and I heard actually recently someone sent me a headline that Devolver, Graham Struthers, the guy that we interviewed, has hit up Square Enix to try and get the Vagrant Story IP so he could do a remake on it. But they kept rebuffing him or something.
Oh, God.
So, like, apparently that was a thing. And it's never going to happen, obviously, because Square's never going to farm out their IP like that. But man, like, I don't know why they won't revisit it. Like,
hey man, they farmed out ActRaiser. No one asked for that, and that game was not what it could have been. Come on, that sounds amazing. Come on.
Sure. So, I don't know, man. This just needs to happen at some point. I'm sure it will.
Make a plea. Ralph, you want to take the next question?
Yes. Jara H says, everyone I know who is interested in games has their own ideas for a game they would love to see made. If you were the director of your own games company and had unlimited budget, what game would you make?
Oh, boy.
Oh, this is an easy one for me because it kind of happened. Rollerdrome is what I've always said, and I'm on the record saying that in multiple videos over the years. That's kind of what I would want to make. I think I would want it to be more story-based, different art style, more combos, but generally, I like stuff that plays like that. Like I love shooty bang video games, and I love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and like those style of games. So it's that type of combo, but with more storytelling. Like if you could somehow tell an incredible tale about somebody who skateboards around and uses guns, like if there could be like a real rich story with that, that's what I would try and make.
Fuck.
It's a hard question.
This is not an original answer by any means, but if I had to take like one property that I loved to turn into a video game, like a big budget one that could really work, Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Like that magic system is so cool, and I think it would make a really, really fun video game. Like a big BioWare style RPG where you have that magic system would be really cool, and I'd really enjoy it. Or else fails, I just love to make a Mass Effect game.
Sure.
I just love to be involved in that.
Yep, definitely.
I am going to be a weird one. And people will be mad at me for this idea. I would love to make a 2.5D action platformer that is a prequel to Banjo-Kazooie called Banjo. And it's all about Banjo trying to find himself as a young bear out in the world, and the game leads up to the moments where he meets Kazooie, and their relationship blossoms and paves the way for Banjo-Kazooie. That's what I would love to see.
Sweet.
That's cute
That
as hell.
is a great idea. Nintendo would, honestly, I could see them greenlighting that. I really could. I really can. That'd be great.
They can call me. Both Microsoft and
right,
Nintendo.
sure.
They've got my number. I'm ready.
I basically just want an open world game like Spider-Man, except RoboCop. That's it. Okay. You start out as the basic RoboCop. You're just fresh off the line, and then you go around fighting crime, and you get cool, sick upgrades. And there are sick villains who, you know, blow shit up and do lots of drugs and swear a lot, and everything is fucked up and dark and all of that shit. And it's just, that's it, man. Set in Detroit.
The Nemesis system. What if he
Nemesis
shows up and he's like,
system.
"You shot me in the dick, and now I'm back."
That's right.
Similar
and he's
vibe,
wearing like a
though.
big cup or something. You know what I mean?
Similar vibe. Dread.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Dread game with the Nemesis
can see that also.
system. And
There-
the
yep.
drugs, so you basically get like a bullet time.
Sure. Yep. I can see all this happening. So,
Risk
I know
reward
there is
system.
a RoboCop game coming, by the way, from the people that made the Terminator game.
Yes.
I don't think this is going to be a truly open world.
Yeah.
Like with I'm not talking like Gotham Knights, but RoboCop. I'm talking Spider-Man, but RoboCop. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking good, but RoboCop.
Compelling.
That's the difference, right? That's what I really want to see. It's never going to happen, obviously, but a man can dream.
Yeah. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
That's right.
And final question from Bing L. Do you all believe that a video game crash like the one that happened in 1983 could happen today?
Oh boy.
Definitely not. No way.
think
There's so
we've
much money in
moved.
this industry
Yeah,
now.
I think we've moved past it.
Over $100 billion the game industry has. There's no way. Time
You
to
know, the game
invest.
industry makes more than the movie and TV and music industry
like,
combined.
I wonder if like think about it, Hollywood, right? I think if you asked Hollywood 10 years ago, is there going to be a crash in Hollywood? Probably say no. I don't know. But now Hollywood's collapsed in many aspects. You know what I mean? It's not what it once was. Anyway, so things change, you know, who knows, maybe, but it does seem that video games are far more resilient than most other media types because they really fit with what we are doing now, how we consume content now, what we, you know, like books. Who reads books now? Not enough people, sadly, but it's just a fact. Magazines, same deal. You know, like film, a shadow of what it once was in terms of an industry. The television now is all moved to streaming. That whole business model has changed. I mean, video games, though, have just gone from strength to strength to strength. And I don't see that trend changing anytime soon, personally.
I see it rapidly changing in terms of how we consume and what we consume. Definitely, where there are so many things gunning for it, whether it's streaming, less physical ownership, a move to VR, all the Web 3 stuff, all that stuff that was trying to like become a thing. The fact that there's so many other subsets of gaming that like our audiences and like what we talk about, it's like a whole different world. Like all the crazy esports stuff, all the mobile stuff, like those are other massive things. And I feel like that's all coming at the core us humble little gamers who just want to cry about a little girl in a Japanese JRPG, you know?
So true.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the gamers are under attack. And
oh my
Always.
gosh, immobilizing the gamers.
That's right. Hey, we defeated Crypto Bros. Did you see that article from Bloomberg?
Yeah, I did.
They're like, hey, and I agree. I think, I mean, because I've been watching this stuff since it started, and I'm pretty sure that it's almost done.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be like last little spurts and whatever else here and there, but I think it's the same as like that great loot box war of 2018 where there was this thing and it could have taken over the entire industry and then everyone's like, nah. And then look, you still have loot boxes in some games, but by and large in core games, not mobile for sure, but in core gaming, everyone said loot boxes fuck off. Even Overwatch now is like, that's the last one. That
Gone.
has had mixed results, to be fair.
Yep.
Everyone's calling for the loot boxes to return, it seems, but yeah, man, it's like it's just that's how it's gone down.
I do think the pandemic has been a good like strength test or endurance test rather for, you know, video games in a lot of ways because how development had slowed down. It also feels like there's been more lulls here and there where like we're not getting these crazy AAA bangers that like is keeping everybody occupied. But like even with all those like little ups and downs over the last like 3 years, even so many games releasing in like not the best quality, despite all those ups and downs, like gaming was still around. People are still playing. People are still discoursing. People are still discording. So
Nice.
You like that? Hey,
Very
thank you.
good. Very
Yeah,
smooth.
I like that a lot. Gerard, do we have a Fortnite in games?
You know, I wanted to keep it short and sweet, and I think I've learned how to do this going forward. And we're running out of time right now, but going forward, this will change. What I would love to do is I'm going to give you three a list of games, and you're going to pick one game that's important to you.
Ooh, this is fun.
And that'll be
like a game.
and that'll be the anniversary that you share. So, for instance,
I like it.
I will share the anniversary this week that's very important to me. 30 years ago, on Friday, which is tomorrow, for those who listen to it on Saturday when it releases, Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins came out. A great Game Boy title that has not seen a remake, has seen a couple of re-releases, but definitely an iconic game that if you have not played, I highly recommend it. And there is a if you're like, but I want color, someone did a great like DX version with cool animated sprites and full color. So highly
I would
recommend
love
it.
to check that out. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very fun. And that's my Fortnite choice in gaming this week.
Awesome. Do we have the
So
for the
do we
rest of
have-
us to have a
wait.
list?
No, I only chose the one. That's what I wanted to do. Make it concise and clean. Now, if you want, I can send you guys the list and you can pick one now. We can edit it out, or you just move on.
I reckon we'll do that probably next week.
Next
Because
week.
otherwise,
We'll be here a
look at
while.
the list first. Otherwise, I'd be like, what game's
Yeah,
that? Oh, that's right.
So going forward,
Right.
we will,
Sure.
I like
we will
it.
have 4
I like it.
games to talk about.
Like it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good plan.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for another amazing episode. I'm thanking us. What am I talking about? Thanks us. We did
You're
great.
welcome.
This was a
We
fun
did it.
episode.
We
We
did
did
it.
it.
No, if you're watching along at home or listening, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming back every 2 weeks. We love making the show, and we hope you love it as much as we do. So,
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter at Lucy James Games. Ralph.
Chill up.
What a cool guy.
Oh, very cool guy.
Lucy's
Jake.
frozen now. Okay.
Oh, no.
We can still hear you though when you're frozen. That's fine. As long as you.
There you go, there you go.
Now
You're
you're
good. You're
back.
back.
I'm back. I'm back. Jake, what about you?
Can I try it too? Can I go?
Yeah, be a cool guy.
Fake Baldino.
Nice.
Oh, there it
Yeah.
is.
Fake
that's-
Baldino
that's
is
me.
sick. I'm going to use that all the time now. I love it.
Big Baldino. Gerard.
I gotta borrow this one from Ralph. Shillpletionist.
Love it.
You can find me at completionist on Twitter and everywhere online.
Wait, so I don't have. Wait, what would mine be?
Lucy Shames.
Fuck,
Lucy-
there it is.
Lucy
Shames. And
Or-
Lucy
yeah.
James. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Wait. We can't. Where's the line?
Oh
Where's
shit!
the
No,
line?
whoa, good.
God
I beg
damn
your
it.
No,
Jake,
take
we
it back.
really
take
gonna
it back.
rob
Okay.
people
No.
of the line? That's why they watch the whole fucking show.
Oh
Okay.
my
You're right.
god, what am I doing?
We almost
I'll
ruined this
see
show.
myself out. Jake, please.
You gotta set me up, Lucy.
Okay,
you gotta
right.
say like, "Hey, Jake, what do we do?" And then I go, "Tie your shoes and go to bed." But yeah, seriously, tie your shoes and go to bed.